Huge episode of Best Ball Breakfast today. After we were off for Memorial Day, we will be drafting with all of the heavy hitters, as you know and love on this program. We will be getting in 4 Best Ball Mania 6 drafts as we try to win. Did I say Best Ball Mania 6? Best Ball Mania 6 drafts. We will be trying to win $2 million here today. And then immediately following, we are going to have the premiere of the duo episode of So You Think You Can Tout. We had 16 final contestants paired into 8 groups of 2, and we are about to see how their submissions fare in front of Adam Levitan and Evan Silva. I'm Pete Overzet. This is Best Ball Breakfast. Let's do it. Welcome to Hot Best Ball Summer. You slurp that suspension dipperino, honey?
Easy to click on Rashad White when it's all site credits.
Exodia.
Put the puppy in the bag, bro. I'm trying to grow the goddamn game.
The game is beatable, folks.
Slap King Summer, bitches.
7,000 hours of commercial-free best ball drafts starts now. All right. How are we doing, everybody? I missed you guys last week. We did get in the underdog streets. We did some Best Ball Mania drafts with John and Nez on off and on the clock, but always feels like there's a giant void in my life when I'm not able to do Best Ball Breakfast with you guys. Of course, things have been heating up within the world of So You Think You Can Tout. We had a very fun After Dark on Friday night featuring 2 sets of duos, and then it was crashed by one of the contestants' mothers. That was, of course, Nathaniel Wright's mom came by and talked about the show. Very good time. If you guys are YouTube members, be sure to check that out. And if you're YouTube members, be sure to join us every Thursday at noon Eastern for the Bash, where I spin a wheel and whoever's name comes up from the YouTube members gets to hop on stream and draft a team with me. It's a very fun time. How are we doing this morning, GMs? What up? What up? Let's see here. Greg says, when he tuned in last Tuesday and saw you guys weren't on, I spit my beach house latte all over my laptop. Well, congrats on the beach house latte. That sounds terrific. But yes, I'm sorry. Sometimes my hands are tied with the holidays. And when you have a 4-hour block for streaming, it is hard to squeeze everything in. But we are back today. The tanks are back. What's up? Who? Shunk the Deuce, Yosh. People like, yeah, this is the ship chasing tank. I have neglected the merch store here for a while. I think we're due for a refresh, but as always, you can find your ship chasing merch, your Badge Bros merch, your Best Ball Breakfast merch in the overzet.shopify account. There's a link down below. And if you ever have requests for any new merch items, feel free to send them my way. But yeah, we're still rocking the oldies, but the goodies here. Let's see. Audio listener here. Any chance y'all could speak at 1.5x speed today? Maybe I'll win a YouTube membership. You know what you could actually do? You could just leave and come back in about, I don't know, an hour and a half and then catch up at 1.5x. You could do the math on exactly how that is. But I'm happy that you're here live today as an audio listener there. Go Easy Card says, Marilyn made the After Dark. Don't think I would have stayed for 2 hours without her. It's such a funny comment because the After Dark would not have gone for 2 hours without her. I had told the guys 30-minute interviews, and Marilyn sent it into overtime. So yes, if anyone's going to get me to stay up past my bedtime, it's apparently Marilyn there. Holy cow, Ben Weaver coming in hot this morning with 10 gifted memberships. What do we owe this occasion, Ben? Thank you very much. That's very nice of you guys. If you receive a membership from Ben, be sure to let him know thanks in the chat. Very, very nice of Ben to be hooking you guys up with 10 memberships, which does get you guys access to the Bash on Thursdays at noon Eastern. That show is gated to the chat. Let's see here. Groovy Greg is sipping coffee on my balcony on a cruise ship somewhere in the Caribbean. Going to be a relaxing best ball breakfast. That sounds lovely. On a cruise, a little coffee, best ball breakfast. I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. Good morning, Stacks Johnny. Rickadoozle says the Bash needs new blood. We do need new blood. People were actually getting frustrated because the Bash is open to any YouTube member. We have lots of YouTube members on this channel. And yet the 3 people who happened to win spots on last week's Bash were all either applicants or contestants on So You Think You Can Tout. So I just want to, again, set the record straight. There is no bias in the StreamYard giveaway algorithm, as far as I know. and continue to show up. Stay in line. Stay in line if you are a YouTube member trying to get on the bash. The odds are best if you show up right at noon Eastern, because generally the first spin only has 9 to 10 names in the hat. As the show goes on, that second spin will often have 15, 20 names. So you'll increase your odds if you show up right at noon Eastern. And what we are going to do here is draft a Best Ball Mania team. It has been a while since I have drafted a solo team on stream. Let's get this going here. I tipped people off in the Discord. If you guys are Best Ball Breakfast Value Hound YouTube members, you get access to the chat, and I'll tip you off when I get in these drafts. And we got this bad boy filled. Let's see what spot we got. Okay, this is nice. I'm excited about this. We have the 111 today. I have not had very many selections from the back side of the draft board. I'll get my exposures pulled up here in a second with the help of the solver, and I can show you how little shares I have of some of these guys at the back end of round one. One of them including Amon-Ra St. Brown. I believe it was with Kevin on the bash on Thursday. I got my first share of Amon-Ra, and it's not that I dislike him. It's just I have not had any slots back there that have made it possible for me to get him here. So let me get this pulled up. Make sure our solver settings are in line with what we want to do today. We got our ADP weight low to medium. We got our team stacking importance medium to high. Week 17 importance medium to high. I might just boost team stacking a little higher than week 17. Week 16 importance I have low, because this year the week 16 is actually the smaller of the playoff pods at 112. And it's actually the week 15 with a pod of 14 that I'm going to juice the importance just a little bit there. And let me go ahead and refresh my exposures, make sure I am all up to date after last week's episodes of the bash and drafting with the Badge Bros. This is going to be my 38th Best Ball Mania draft. My 38th Best Ball Mania draft. Best Ball Mania 7, not Best Ball Mania 6, as I accidentally said in the intro, as I apparently am still living in the past. But that's not a bad pace. I have still only drafted on stream, but at 38 on June 1st, I think we're in good shape here. Good shape. All right, 111. Let me check out the board. Let me see these jamokes I'm drafting against today. We got East of Ethan. We got JGFC. We got Crutches. Who else do we have in here? Charlie, line of scrimmage. And I am on the clock at 111, looking at James Cook, Ashton Jeanty, Barkley. You know what? I am going to pick Ashton Jeanty here. I only have 5.1% Jeanty. That feels a little light. Even through 38 drafts, we will start with him, and we'll probably end up selecting another running back here. The back end of round one into round two is just all green. Jeanty, Cook, Barkley, Achane, Hampton, Walker, Henry, Chase Brown, all of them here. I can see who I've paired with Ashton Jeanty so far this year in Best Ball Mania. I've paired him once with Barkley and once with Kenneth Walker. I would say those are my two favorite of these backs here. And I think I'll just do that again here with Barkley. You know, by the end of the summer, will I start to mix it up if I have a lot of different, or if I have a ton of just Jeanty Barkley? Sure. But this will only be my second one here. And one thing we'll do is I will, on the solver filter, I am going to click both Jeanty and Barkley. So I can now start to make sure I don't draft the exact same team that I had with these guys. So last time I had these two, I went Javonte Williams and Garrett Wilson at the 3-4 turn. So this will be helpful to, make sure we push in a slightly different direction than the team we drafted previously with these guys. And I should mention, as always, the solver, my overlay tool here, helping me keep track of all of my exposures, my combinatorial ownership, all of that good stuff. You guys can get 20% off this tool with promo code Pete. There's links pinned in the chat in the show notes. Check it out and manage your portfolio in real time, and also get these solver scores up here as well that are catered to your specific preferences with the different configuration options. Jeanty and Barkley to start. Tank tops out, feeling high tea here. Is me picking Jeanty the first successful Toutception from the candidates Rambus Masterclass. Yeah, I actually saw Cups and Rambus were now fighting on who gets credit for liking Ashton Jeanty. That Rambus has made Jeanty such a strong part of his personal brand that Cups was like, wait. He had the highest prospect score in my running back bottle since he started making it. So yeah, we're going to have to see who gets to claim rights to Ashton Jeanty as part of their personal brand here. But yeah, I do like Jeanty too. I think the point Cups has been kind of driving home with him and a lot of people is just that his receiving profile could be underappreciated heading into this year. And really the one thing sinking him is just the stench of what happened last year, right? That offense was so bad. The offensive line was bad, but they've addressed a lot of those concerns. I think the interesting thing with Jeanty is just like, what do we get from Mendoza? How long do we get Kirk Cousins? There is still a wide range of outcomes with the quarterback play there. But if the offensive line is improved, it should be full wheels up for Jeanty. I mean, there is absolutely nothing behind him unless you're a huge Mike Washington believer. And I think we have a lot of reasons to believe that Mike Washington is not going to be a threat in year one. This draft is ripping along quickly. Let's see here. What are we going to do? We should also mention, as I stare at Devontae Smith here, who I am going to select slightly past ADP, is this the day that A.J. Brown gets moved? Is today the day? June 1st has been the day. Everyone is circled on their calendars. And we're going to start with two Eagles here, Barkley and Devontae Smith. I've continued to think the Devontae slide is crazy. Like we're pricing in almost everything involved with this trade. And yet Smith continues to fall. I don't really get it. I know there were some lingering, I guess, doubts after the draft because they added Lemon, they added Stowers, but I think it's absolutely silly to allow Devontae Smith to slide here while we are in this window for A.J. Brown to get traded. All right, what do we want to do here? Kerrane, Tetairoa. Interesting, the solver likes Igbuka there. I have not selected much Igbuka. Let's split the difference and go with Tetairoa here. We'll go Tetairoa McMillan at this turn. So Jeanty and Barkley, Devontae and Tetairoa. And you know what I think I owe everybody, and I owe myself? I owe myself a coffee pour. There's some coffee for you. Goombas, I've done one with Jeanty where I pulled up Bowers. Is that wild to even get different? So I don't love that for two reasons. I don't love it because I don't like taking two players from the same team at a price premium, right? Like if you have Jeanty and Bowers, somehow falls to you. I mean, there's no scenario where that happens. So I guess it's a dumb example, but basically if you get teammates at cost or at value, I get it. But to reach for them, like what you need from those top two, you really need the Raiders to be like the team this year, and both of those guys to wildly exceed expectations. I think it's just putting a ton of pressure on your roster. So that's just the thought from a team level pairing standpoint and spending two picks, your two most premium picks at the same team. The other thing to me is like, I just think it's way too early within the drafting cycle. Again, I'm assuming you're talking about doing this in a BBM. If you're doing this in a time box contest and you want to be the only one in the contest who has a Jeanty Brock Bowers share, like, sure, fine, knock yourself out. But I think with BBM and the way prices and stuff change, that there just isn't really a ton of value in doing those fancy moves early. I think you build as many solid, well-projecting teams as you can. And then in that final stretch, when you're trying to do a little portfolio management, you're trying to balance some of your exposure, some of your combos. And if you have that wish list, by all means, follow your heart, go and get those combos that you want. But to me, it just strikes me as being bored in June if you're doing it in BBM. So that's the beauty of the time box contest. Go fuck around and find out in the time box contest where it's not going to hurt you as much and you can actually guarantee the uniqueness. Because I will give an example of how that kind of stuff can backfire. Let's say Brock Bowers pulls his hamstring in training camp, right? And now all of a sudden there's like this doubt and he's, re-injuring it. And now they're like, his early season outlook is murky. And all of a sudden Brock Bowers is now falling to the 3-4 turn. Is this a little unrealistic? Sure. But just hear me out on this. If that were to happen, now all of a sudden you're going to have teams who are getting Jeanty with Bowers paired together, but with an additional second round picked in. So you want to use the duration of the contest to see like what are the combos that people are most reliably getting. And then you can kind of pivot yourself around that. But there's just a lot of ways those fancy combos can go wrong early. Yeah, I'm wondering this too. Crutches says, are we pushing up Igbuka because the highlight OTA catches or pushing down Baker because all the inaccurate throws? Let me make this pick here, and then we can continue to talk things through. Lamar Jackson falling all the way back, but I think I'd rather just do, what do I want to do here? Let me do the wide receiver first. I'll grab Christian Watson. I'll see what the team at 512 does. It's kind of an interesting spot as far as the Hurts selection. Selecting Hurts over Lamar doesn't feel good, so I think I'd let this drafter decide for me with the idea that I'd like to take a quarterback at this selection. These are one of the spots that I don't have a ton of confidence in how to play it as far as what's better, the Jackson value unstacked or just pulling up Hurts because we already need the Eagles to crush on a Barkley and Devontae team. So Lamar goes. So now the question is, do I want to commit to the Hurts or do I want to try to play a late round quarterback thing? Let's actually push it. Let's not reach for Hurts here, which would be a full 10 picks ahead of ADP. I don't think that would be bad, but I'm going to take Jordan Tyson instead. And then I'm looking at this team. I know with Tetairoa, Bryce Young is available late. I know with Christian Watson, Love is available late. I know with Tyson, Shuck is available in the early hundreds. And then even with Jeanty, I could build something out with the Raiders. So I think with enough back stack options, not forcing the quarterback there is fine. Interesting spot, though. I do think you can pull it up if you want and really build out the Eagles bet. But we'll go ahead and take Jordan Tyson there at pick 62. So the squad, we start with 2 running backs, Jeanty and Barkley, and then we rip off 4 straight wide receivers, Devontae Smith, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson, and Jordan Tyson. Never forget Devontae Smith was a bit player on the BB Brunch roster. Yes, he does have porn star fame equity. Coffee Pour Now BB has officially started. Amen. Chunk the Deuce, same with Lamb and Pickens. Yeah, like so Lamb's ADP is at 8. So if you're pulling up Pickens to 21, at least it's a little less of a value hemorrhaging there. But it's not my favorite thing. Like, I really don't think I would be going out of my way to take Pickens with Lamb. Charlie's buying the Jacobs dip. Yeah, this is notable here. He goes at pick 41. Charlie gets Josh Jacobs pick 41. Brady Sanders, is the solver overlay available on DraftKings? Yes, it is. They are up and running over there. I believe the combo tool is up and running over there. What are your thoughts about the combo of Jeanty and Hampton? I mean, I'm a little lower, I think, than maybe the market on Hampton in general. But as far as mixing and matching these running backs here, I have no problem with it. You know, like any of these combos, we've talked through. The thing for me was I didn't love the Derrick Henry Chase Brown one because people are chasing that for week 17 correlation. But with Henry not being a bunch of a pass catcher, I don't love doing it just for week 17 purposes. But like, we can pull up projections. I can look at the fantasy life projections. All of these guys in this Cook, Achane, Barkley, Walker, Henry, Brown, Hampton cohort are going to project within a band that I think makes it justifiable to mix and match them how you please. I don't think that's crazy. Win Tout video today, 2 p.m. Eastern. Immediately following Best Ball Breakfast, you guys will be redirected over there. It is a live premiere. I believe it's like an 85-minute episode. Silva and Levitan judging. It's going to be a good time. I do not. I need to get my my tweet deck up. If you guys see any breaking news on the AJ Brown front, I assure or I trust that you guys will fill me in and make sure that I don't miss anything here. We are about to pick at the 7-8 turn here. We are on the clock. Let's see. So Dak is here. We can continue to kind of load up on some running backs and try to play a late round quarterback situation. I kind of like that. I think what I'm going to do is take Rico here. I could certainly build out some back stacks with, I mean, the Dak, it's just what? Ferguson and Flournoy are what you're doing. Herbert, there's a few there. I think kind of ideally what I would do, we'll see what this team on the turn does. If I'm talking it out loud, I think taking like a Godwin and then giving myself another quarterback out and then really just hammering quarterbacks in this. He goes Godwin. So there you go. That's what I get for talking out loud. Maybe we just do the Dak thing. Ferguson is cheap. Flournoy, I don't want to get completely boxed out at quarterback. Let's take the value. We almost took the value on Lamar. Let's go ahead and just do the Dak thing here. There's no week 17 correlation here. There's not even any week 16 correlation. We're just going to take the quarterback past ADP. With Dallas, it really is Ferguson and Flournoy. Maybe a Jaden Blue tacked on at the end if you're feeling really spicy, but I'm trying to be more open to some of these non-obvious backdoor stacks. We talked about it on Ship Chasing the other day where we had a naked Mahomes team and then you end up missing out on Worthy and Kelsey and we end up with just naked Mahomes. I still don't love that, even if the Sims say otherwise. So I think my goal will be to make Ferguson a priority on this team. And based on his ADP of 126, I should be able, I guess it's tricky because I pick at 131. So I will need him to fall 5 spots. Like taking Ferguson at 110 doesn't feel great, but I might just have to do it. Charlie says, Pete, we need a June cameo for Siegel. Need his thoughts on the slate. I know. I couldn't agree more, man. I had actually emailed him and not to throw him under the bus, but I never heard back. So I know he's really busy right now. I think he was doing some travel, but I will nudge him again because I would love to get Sean on. All right. Nick says that AJ Brown can't officially be traded until 4 p.m. Should be safe today unless there's a leak. That is good context to know. I will probably hold out on writing the newsletter until later today, so I don't have to redo it after the trade. Although, can you guys think of another example of a trade or a piece of news that basically every angle of it has already been discussed? I don't even know. I guess the compensation, whatever the compensation ends up being, will be an interesting talking point. But man, we have all thoroughly discussed the implications of AJ Brown to New England at this point. All right, so here's the team as I kind of struggled with how to play this Dak Prescott selection. I have naked Dak Prescott at quarterback. I have Jeanty, Barkley, Rico at running back, Devontae, Tetairoa, Watson, and Tyson. So I do think Jordan Love in this range makes a ton of sense. I do have Christian Watson. I think of these two picks, 1-7, 1-10, one of them should be a quarterback. And then we could basically, it's either Love or Shuck. And then we can leave a spot for a Bryce Young or Mendoza. That works out well. So Love and Shuck are both here. And then what we could do, yes, I think we grab one more running back here. I still like the Kenny Gainwell stuff with all of this uncertainty with Bucky. The fact that Gainwell hasn't really shot up a ton is still attractive to me in this range at 107. So I add Gainwell as my RB4 along with Jeanty, Barkley, Rico. And then we'll grab a quarterback here. Love or Shuck, both of them available. No bye week issues there. I think I prefer Love. Let's go Jordan Love. Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, 4 running backs, Jeanty, Barkley, Rico, Kenneth Gainwell. 4 wide receivers, Devonta Smith, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson, Jordan Tyson, no tight ends yet. And then basically we see if we can get Ferg to fall. If not, we'll just try to take a flyer on Flournoy or something. Are you doing a Q&A after dark tonight? There will be something tonight. The goal is actually to launch an after show for So You Think You Can Tout, called About the Touts, hosted by Mike Zakarian, my buddy from the NBA Bit. You guys have seen him on Off and On the Clock, etc. We hit a little snag with spinning up a new YouTube channel for that. So, this afternoon I need to touch base with Mike, but the goal is to have an after show tonight. It will likely be on my channel for this week, just because we weren't able to get that other channel spun up in time. But yes, there will be a couple exit interviews, some conversation about what happens in the episode. And the goal, I think, will be to make that, it'll probably be public. So everybody can watch that. But yeah, stay tuned. There will be something. Just couldn't get our ducks quite in a row in time to get that organized. Yeah, I saw this too. Rumors a 2028 first rounder for AJ Brown. That pick really getting pushed out does seem to change the compensation. I mean, this stuff happens in dynasty stuff too, right? Where the time value of the pick, really reduces its value in a pretty meaningful way. I saw someone trying to kind of benchmark it to the Jalen Waddle trade with the Broncos. Obviously, Waddle's younger, AJ Brown in a different tier of wide receiver, debatably. But that kind of setting the market for this trade. I just don't know how it doesn't happen at this point. I mean, everything the Eagles have done indicates they have moved on. AJ Brown's not happy. It just didn't seem like there were any other real suitors in the mix. I think the Rams were the only other team that was kind of interested. And then they kind of blew their load using their pick on a quarterback. $28 first feels like an overplay. No, the contract too. I don't know, man. It's really, really hard to find elite wide receiver ones in this league. And New England's clearly on the cusp, made it to the Super Bowl. And arguably their biggest deficiency, other than needing more offensive line help, is an alpha wide receiver for Drake May. I think it's a pretty justifiable push the chips in kind of play for a team trying to capitalize on a win now Super Bowl window. But truthfully, like the way that the cap can be manipulated and all of these things, I have a hard time looking you straight in the eye and saying what's an overpay, what's not. I don't know what's actually hamstringing them. Did someone really take Ferg from me? Someone took Ferg over Goddard. Come on. All right. I'll take Dallas Goedert. I'll take Dallas Goedert here at 131. Someone took, I want to see how tilted I should be at this Ferguson snipe. On a Jalen Hurts team, now I'm tilted. This dude, did you seriously just take Ferguson to tilt me? Goddard was right there, dude. Right there, HSZO. That is egregious. If someone's just raw dogging Ferguson, whatever. But to take Ferguson on the Hurts, is that because I took your Eagles from you? What is going on? Jesus. I'll scoop the Dipperino here on Jaden Higgins as my wide receiver 5. Ow! I mean, yes, I'm aware I have unstacked Dak. And I also thought, I think if I was being honest, so, Ferguson has what? ADP of 126. I was picking at 131. You got to think I have like a 65% chance, 50 to 60% chance of getting him. I knew there was a possibility I wouldn't get him. I just didn't think it would be at the hands of a guy who certainly should have taken Dallas Goedert instead of Jake Ferguson. Am I allowed to tilt that? Is that not fair game? Am I being unreasonable? You tell me. That's a whack-a-oo. You can do better? No, I don't want to do better. I'm not happy I'm not in a good mental state. Had I gotten Jake Ferguson to stack up with Dak, I would have given you a hearty ah-oo. Pete, can you do a tequila pour? I cannot. I'm on like a year and a half now of no drinking in my house. I had some tequila this weekend. I met up with Mike Zakarian and his wife for tacos and some margs. But I'm rocking the no alcohol in the house rule. And so there will be no tequila pours. I am sorry. Streamed draft tax. That is right. I just paid it. I just want HSC to reveal yourself. Are you in the chat, HSC? It's been a while since we did one of these witch hunts. Reveal yourself. You're always watching. If we want to assign probabilities to a snipe like that, 98% of the time they're watching. Reveal yourself, sir. Go ahead, say, the sidekick told me to. I don't care what it is, but reveal yourself. Okay, now I feel better. Hambone Slappy says Ferguson sucks anyways. You know what? You're right. But I'm just a stack Slappy at heart. Don't worry. Ryan Flournoy is going to fit like a fucking glove on this team. All right. Let's focus, try to land this plane here. All right. I also have breaking news on the show schedule today. Adam Levitan is out. I think he forgot to tell me that. I'm not going to fully throw him under the bus. Maybe he told me a month ago, but he is not here. But Neil Orfield is going to join here in about 25 minutes in his spot. All right, look at the sidekick's already suggesting Flournoy for me. I refuse. Is there anything I should be doing here other than Flournoy before I take him 20 picks ahead of ADP? There's like 5 tight ends on the board. I just took Flournoy. I also missed out on both. I shouldn't talk. Like, why do I even stream? Bryce Young goes. Fernando Mendoza goes. What is JGFC? What the fuck are you doing, dude? You're taking Fernando Mendoza at 146? What are we doing? Mendoza, ADP of 167. JGFC, you're supposed to be one of the good ones. What are we doing? You don't have a single Raider on this team. Unbelievable. This is like some of the most chat on streamer crime I've seen in a long time. I'll just take Jawan Johnson. I hate this. This is what's going to drive me to finally draft off stream on my own, so I don't have to deal with you antagonists. Can always take last round Jaden Blue. I might, Willis. I might. Don't tempt me with a good time. Don't tempt me with a good time. Yes, the Flannelverse will be in full effect here. Neil Orfield confirmed. I put up the bat signal. The bat signal was just me holding up a flannel polo outside his window. JGFC. Sorry, BB. I legit didn't realize you wanted Mendoza. Don't worry about it. No, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm having a great time. I'm not rattled. What makes you think I'm rattled? There's nothing that can make you think I'm rattled right now. Is it that I said I was going to draft a BBM6 team today instead of BBM7? Is that why you think I might be rattled? Is it because my leadoff guest at 11 a.m. Eastern told me right as the show started he wasn't able to make it? Is it because every fucking quarterback I want is getting sniped from me? Is that why you would think I was rattled? I'm not rattled. I'm fine. In fact, I'm going to pour another cup of coffee. I'm fine. Not rattled. Cool as a cucumber. I want to, this comment on screen right now, I want to do the Phillip Rivers gif where he's on the sideline in his Chargers outfit. The comment for the audio listener says, D+ draft, Pete, you're better than this. And you're both right and wrong at the same time. I guess I didn't have a plan for when I got punched in the face by the people I thought were my friends. The JGFCs of the world, the HS Zoos of the world. It was an angry pour. That's right. You're goddamn right. It was an angry pour. East of Ethan says, if it makes you feel any better, I hate my draft too. A little bit. You know what? I'd be lying if I said it doesn't. It does make me feel a little bit better. It does. I appreciate that. Let's recap the team here. We have a 2-4-6-2. We have Dak Prescott and Jordan Love. Don't forget, Dak Prescott is stacked with Ryan Flournoy before you freak out. 4 running backs, Jeanty, Barkley, Rico, Kenneth Gainwell. Wide receivers, Devontae Smith, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson, Jordan Tyson, Jaden Higgins, Ryan Flournoy. Tight ends, Dallas Goedert and Juwan Johnson. I think we are looking at, we have 4 more picks. What's the quarterback situation? Yeah, we are in dark territory for the quarterbacks. Probably just going to end up rocking a Prescott and Love. Would like to add a running back. Definitely adding another tight end. I hate this portion of the draft board. I really do. Best available. So at ADP wise, we're looking at like Barner, Bigsby, Singleton, Gunnar Helm. Solver likes Calvin Ridley, Emmanuel Wilson, Cooper Kupp. Tight end stuff here. Look at Jacoby really falling these days. Let's go ahead and do Calvin Ridley. We'll grab another wide receiver here at 179. We got some young guns in here. Jordan Tyson, Higgins, Flournoy, Tetairoa. We'll get an adult in the room, Calvin Ridley. And then I think I should probably just take a tight end here before it gets really gross. Goddard and Juwan Johnson. Who do we want to pair with him? Cade Otton, Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth gives us a little of that week 17 correlation opposite Calvin Ridley. That's we talk about the Algier Kyle Pitts. Tell me what's more Kyle what's more week 17 shitty correlated or coded than fucking Calvin Ridley to pair with Pat Freiermuth. That is the sad trombone of week 17 correlations. Disgusting. Our generation's Algier and Zach Ertz right there. Calvin Ridley and Pat Freiermuth. Blizzy Blaine wants me to take Turpin and Jaden Blue. All right, I might. Jewish says, first time Calvin Ridley has ever been called the adult in the room. I mean, just by age, maybe not maturity. Someone's got to teach these young boys how to gamble. I sniped you on Pat Fry. So it has what's happened in the market with Jacoby Brissett is the Carson Beck drumbeat just so loud now? Because I want to say a month ago on stream, you would have a Trey McBride drafter taking Jacoby Brissett at like 145, right? Am I hallucinating that happening? Has everyone just turned on Jacoby Brissett? Or did everyone just wake up and realize there's like a less than 10% chance that he's starting in the fantasy playoffs and maybe we shouldn't take him in Best Ball Mania 7? Is that what happened? I'm just trying to figure out what happened with Jacoby Brissett. Because he was being aggressively drafted as early as 6 weeks ago, I want to say. Mr. Mister cheering me up here. 10 more gifted YouTube memberships. Thank you, Mr. Mister. Very nice of you. I feel myself relaxing and feeling settled, grounded. I'm no longer rattled. The gifts, the memberships, the generosity from this community reminds me what this is all about. It's not about sniping. It's not about betrayal. Tune in to So You Think You Can Tout at 2 p.m. Eastern, by the way. No, it's about friendships. It's about gifting. It's about picking each other up when they're down. And that's exactly what Mr. Mister and Ben Weaver have done today. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, camp holdout. The chat is telling me the camp holdout. That seems like a good run out for Jacoby Brissett Bulls. Because they were going to probably get burned regardless, but then they're allowed to eject because of camp holdout FUD. All right, 2 more picks. 2 more picks. Should we take a couple of running backs? I do like Ray Davis here. Ray Davis seems nice as a running back 5. Let's take Ray Davis, and then we'll figure out what we want to do with this last pick. So we have a 2-5-7-3. In a perfect world, this team would have a third quarterback. I don't even know who that would be. Do I just give the people Jaden Blue? Is that what the people want? Will the crowd go wild with a Jaden Blue selection? Everybody stand up on your feet. Stand up on your feet. What you are about to witness is pure cinema. They tried to take Jake Ferguson away from me. But you know what they can't do? They cannot take Ryan Flournoy and Jaden Blue from me. They cannot. From my cold, dead, $25 wasted hands, I will stack despite the challenges, the adversaries. Here's the final squad. Man, this draft flew. We flew. Dak Prescott and Jordan Love. Ashton Jeanty. Actually, this reminds me, why didn't I take fucking MarShawn Lloyd? You guys got me so riled up about Jaden Blue that I just missed that MarShawn Lloyd was still chilling there. How am I not taking MarShawn Lloyd? Josh Jacobs is plummeting in drafts, and I'm not clicking MarShawn Lloyd in the 18th. What a rough draft. What a rough draft by me. Anyways, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Jeanty, Barkley, Rico, Kenneth Gainwell, Ray Davis, Jaden Blue, Devonta Smith, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson, Jordan Tyson, Jaden Higgins, Ryan Flournoy, Calvin Ridley, Dallas Goedert, Jawan Johnson, Pat Freiermuth. Absolutely hate it. Things I like. Let's try to be positive. In the spirit of the gifting of the memberships, let's try to be positive. What do I like? I like this Green Bay stack with the Jaden Higgins bring back in week 17. I absolutely love the Pat Freiermuth, Calvin Ridley correlation. I like the running back room. I think the wide receivers are solid. The tight end room is solid, if not exciting. Wish I could have gotten Ferguson. Wish I could have gotten a third quarterback. It would have been nice to do something with Bryce Young. Wish I would have taken MarShawn Lloyd. It is what it is, folks. It's on me. It's on me. I'm not drafting enough off stream. I'm rusty. I'm not prepared for the kamikaze drafters coming after me. Mr. Mister had to get me back in the zone. I appreciate it. I'm appreciate it. What's the huge Eagles news from Adam Schefter? Here we go. Former Packers wide receiver Samori Toure is signing with the Eagles today. How many receivers do the Packers have to send to the Eagles? He now will be reunited with new Eagles offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, who is an offensive assistant coach in Green Bay with Toure. What year? Wasn't Toure like a recent draft pick too? What year was he drafted? 2022? I mean, A.J. Brown is gone. I mean, you can't just keep it's like you add Marquise Brown, you add Dontavian Wicks, you add Lebon, you bring in Samori Toure. I mean, come on, this shit's going down. Woo Benny trying to get me back on track with some positivity. He says, I said Ray Davis seems nice as a RB5 like all last summer, and I will fall for it again. Yep. I mean, like, if we are even being hard on Ray Davis and we want to quibble with his, say, like true RB2 status, like if we wanted to have the Ty Johnson conversation, I mean, it's the same kind of conversation we would have about Sean Tucker. It's the same conversation we would have about Keaton Mitchell, where even if there's an injury in front of them, they're probably still going to split some touches in some capacity, but they would be very fantasy relevant if there was an injury in front of them. So I do think it's pretty equivalent to some of those other backfields where, yes, it's a little murky with three legitimate bodies in there, but the Ray Davis skill set in that offense, a guy who can pass protect, who can catch balls, who can be an interior runner. I think if like James Cook decided to retire from football today, or, you know, tore his ACL and was out for the year, whatever have you. I mean, Ray Davis he's going where? 5th, 6th round pick in that situation? Where do you guys think he'd go? Remove James Cook from the world, from the universe. Where are we selecting James Cook right now? Round 7? Ramondre, Pollard, Rico, Harvey, that range? Higher? Jaylen Warren range? Probably like after Tootin, around Warren, round 6. So if you agree with that premise, then I think he's a pretty good round 18 pick. Ooh, Jewish McCaffrey reminding me that today the actual anniversary of Sam Sherman's winning Best Ball Mania 6 lineup. He says if Sam drafts the shipper on June 1st, 2 years in a row, the influencer allegations will be off the charts. You know what? I will be willing to deal with those allegations if that happens with the team drafted with me on my account today. And do you know what's so glorious about this too? It's going to be my name. Like, because I'm a good guy, will I Venmo Sam Sherman $500,000 post taxes? Absolutely. That is the terms of any of my guests who draft on stream with me. However, will I make an absolute meal out of it being on my account? And I might even just unlist the stream just so no one actually pieces together that it was co-drafted with Sam and that he made every decision. I think I will just try to erase that part from history. I'll face the allegations head on. Another influencer finally wins Best Ball Mania, but I will make sure that the larger public does not know who Sam Sherman is in relation to this draft drafted on June 1st. Mark my words on that. MarShawn Lloyd is in the blue tent. Evergreen. East of Ethan, this is the least favorite BBM I've drafted. All right, let's see what did Ethan do? Bo Nix, Bryce Young, Geno Smith, Bijan, David Montgomery, Warren, Rashad White, Nico Waddle, Harrison, Myers, Wandell, Tank, Pat Bryant, Torrey Horton, Trey McBride, Isaiah Likely, Dalton Schultz. I don't know. It seems fine. It's fine. I'd probably trade my team with yours. If we're going to have a game of one-upsmanship on who hates their team more, I'll beat you in that. Your team's fine. Are winners of gifted memberships picked randomly? No, I actually quickly go into the YouTube algorithm and I hand select my favorites. And it's hard because in a lot of ways, I wish they already would have been a member and that they weren't just gifted one, because let's be honest, in a month when it expires, are they re-upping on their own? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean that I'm going in there and I'm not hand selecting who gets these. Yeah, it's completely randomized by YouTube's algorithm. Well, look who we have here. Maryland's Travels, aka Nathaniel Wright's mom. Nathaniel Wright is one of the final 16 contestants on So You Think You Can Tout. If you want to see more of Maryland, you can check her out on TikTok as well as on After Dark on Saturday night or Friday night. If you had to predict which Pete-related influencer ships BBM this year, who would it be? We did this, or was it on ADP Chasing or Ship Chasing, one of the shows? I mean, there has to be what? I do think we're casting a wider net this year, right? Because a lot of the So You Think You Can Tout contestants will max BBM, I assume, which will, now you start to increase the surface area of people that I will have done shows or streams with. It gives me more to work with than just the Ship Chasers, just the Best Ball Breakfast co-hosts, the often on the clock guys. What about Nez? What about Nez? Can we get Nez a BBM win? That would be a fun one. I think that's my pick for your question, Jewish McCaffrey. If I had to pick which Pete-related influencer ships BBM, let's give it to Nez Takes. All right, the chat is firing today. I'm catching up with you guys. Yeah, you guys predicting the Ray Davis ADP Sands James Cook 4-5 turn. This seems fair. So I was even a little light. On my prediction based on your guys's. Yeah, next to Demont. This is, I guess, the wrinkle. Would they bring someone else in? Sure. Yeah, they'd need a body. But man, I think the Ray Davis hype would be full steam ahead. And he doesn't have, like, you compare him to MarShawn Lloyd, someone where it's just like anytime you mention his name, we all roll our eyes. Did we do a final recap of my team? I think we did. I think we've beaten this one into the ground. I will name it here, though. June 1st, guys. June 1st. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I just wrote bash. It's not the bash. BBB 2673 Dallas Green Bay. Has Maryland given me the promised TikTok bump yet? I don't think she has. Hey, Maryland, can you go and press the little retweet button over there on TikTok on a few of those posts? There's one. I just posted the one yesterday involving you and Nathaniel from After Dark. So it's right there. I need some of this clout on TikTok from you. I need some of those fans of your travel vlogging to find their way over to So You Think You Can Tout. Maryland single-handedly boosting the female viewership stats. Absolutely. Absolutely. Greg says, yeah, Pete, I show up every week and punt the membership because I think I'm going to get a gifted one. Hey, there's 526 people watching live right now. Again, I don't know exactly how the YouTube membership RNG works. Is it biased toward people who are commenting in the chat? Do lurkers have an equal opportunity? I don't know, but with 20 out of 526, that's what you're working with tonight. Oh, we've already established in this hypothetical that it's rigged, but in this hypothetical, we're determining who it's rigged for. There you go. Nez drafting on the Sanctuary tonight. Tune in. Feels like Soccer Dave's year. Forgive me, Kamish. That feels like a burner. Can we get Maddock a win? I would genuinely love to see Davis win, but I just think whatever deal he made with the devil involves him not winning for a long, long time. I don't know what deal he made, but some deal was made, and I think that it doesn't involve winning BBM. But he got something great in return, I'm sure. All right, everybody thinks it's a Soccer Dave year. There you go. I mean, the dynamics of the Swolecast, if like Davis had a losing year, I had a losing year, and Soccer Dave won BBM, would be incredible. It would honestly be incredible. All right, Marilyn confirms she already retweeted the one from yesterday. Thank you for your service. I'm sure the TikTok follows are rolling in. A word on sports getting us back on track. Thoughts on 2664 builds in BBM? Sure. Like with all of these build types, it's based on the capital you spent. So I would hope those 4 tight ends all came fairly late. Probably your first one not coming until after pick 120 or pick 130. If you're at 2 QBs, I would hope you had both of those QBs locked up by pick 110 or so. That's where I finished here with Love at 110 and Dak. And then 6 and 6, sure. You're going to want some wide receiver firepower early, probably 4 wide receivers through top 75, 80 picks to make sure you have it. I think you could show me a ton of different build types, and I could like loosely say, hey, assuming you spent adequate capital on the position where you can make that work. But I would just never go into a draft. I say that as someone who's done challenge videos where he goes into a draft trying to do a specific thing. But aside from the hashtag content, I don't think you should ever go into a draft trying to execute a specific structure. Thank you, Josh. Smash the like. Smash it. If you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe. Other than holiday weekends, we are here every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Drafts with Levitan, Sam Sherman, Pat Kerrane, and myself. Best Ball Breakfast. 4 hours of best ball goodness and apparently tilt based on how today went. A-Word says we're only at 100 likes. Shameful. Boost it. Smash it. I need it. It's all I have. See, this is how you smoke the lurkers out. B. Kieran says, as a lurker until recently, I'd say no, we don't get selected for membership. So there you go. The YouTube algorithm rewards the participants, as it should be. We can't be giving out gifts to the lurkers. Look at all the lurkers coming out of the woodwork. These are usernames I don't even know. AVZDXA, lurker here, just lurking for a gifted stub. Start posting. Be the change you want to see in the world. Unless you're posting directly tilts me, in which case, shut up and stay silent. Davis confirmed Freemason. Exactly. All right. We are bringing in the heavy hitter now. A man, when I put up the bat signal, was here for me. It's none other than the maven of the flannelverse, Mr. Neil Orfield, a triumphant return to the channel, called up on short notice, there for me when I need him. What's up, Neil?
Hey, I'm feeling good today. I feel like my odds of winning Best Ball Mania just shot up at least a couple percent. Yeah, I've been out of bed for about 20 minutes. I got your message on my phone and then it disappeared and I thought I had been rug pulled, but then I went to my computer and it was still there. So it's just a Twitter issue.
That's one of the things too in those spots where you're asking people to fill in. The worst thing you can do is send your instinct is to send 6 different people a message and just see who accepts. But then there's nothing more dickish from my perspective than being like, oh, by the way, someone actually beat you to it. So no, I asked you. You confirmed, and you are here. Your lighting looks good. Do you have a new lighting setup?
I actually just turned my desk around, so now I'm just facing the back wall, which maybe helps. No, I have the same lighting as always. I've got just a ring light, overhead lighting, in the same office I've always been. I'm just literally flipped around where I'm seated.
Nice, man. I know you've been making content. I actually just got loaded in my podcast app, your new show, Best Ball Whenever. Started listening to that episode with Gretch. What else have you been up to?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just started doing content again about 3 weeks ago. I was pretty burnt out after the NFL season and didn't feel like drafting best ball, believe it or not. And finally, I feel like we're getting some news. We're getting some things that are getting me excited to be drafting best ball. So yeah, I'm kind of just getting into it the past 3 or 4 weeks. I had been drafting, but largely just kind of clicking the top click on the side click before the NFL draft. And now that we are in full drafting season, yeah, excited to be getting back into the content. Got a new dog a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he doesn't really like me yet. That's the only issue, but he's starting to like me, but he's kind of a pain in the ass because he won't let me like touch him or like, I don't know. He's a struggle.
What
I love him.
What kind of dog is it?
He's a Maltese, a little 11-pound, maybe he might be 12 or 13 now, but a little white dog. Looks actually his fur or hair has grown in. He looks just like our last dog who passed away in October, which is we were not really trying to get an exact replica, but he looked pretty different with shorter hair. Now he just looks more and more like our old dog.
Have you already ordered the little flannel verse style kind of like mini dog jacket that you'll often see those dogs wear?
We actually, I believe, already have one that our old dog. Beautiful. It wasn't one that we used all that often with our old dog, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we do already have a flannel jacket we can put him in.
Yeah, Debu wants to know: did you name the dog Murphy in hopes of triangulating all of the cocktail ingredients to win Best Ball Mania?
That would have been another move to boost my odds of winning Best Ball Mania. He actually came with the name Valentino, and his foster mom called him Val, and my wife didn't like that. But we decided to call him Tino for a while. But we had some concern that having no in the name is not a good thing with the dog. And also he like didn't like me. So like the fact that he was still kind of afraid of me 3 weeks in, we actually just changed his name this weekend to Percy. Three weeks in, we changed his name to Percy.
Wow. Yeah. How is the dog handling the seismic reorientation of not knowing his name anymore?
Yeah, totally seamless. He did not ever get used to Tino. So yeah, it's kind of like coinciding, I think, with him like starting to like me, like showing interest in me as we change the name. So, I feel like just Percy has better vibes than Tino ever did.
Incredible. Well, the chat liked the Valentino name there.
He's also Maltese. It's an Italian like dog breed. So I think that's why the name Valentino. I liked it too. You can also call him Val, you can call him Tino, you can call him Valentino. Just but Percy also works. Yes, after Percy Harvin, of course.
This is what happens. You revert the day. Okay, yeah. So you did confirmed it's after Percy Harvin, but this is in an alternate reality, Neil. This is what happens. The dog's name stays Valentino. You win Best Ball Mania, and in your honor, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, Underdog launches a contest called the Valentino with a picture of your dog on it. That could have happened, but now it can't.
I do love that thought. That would have been a great story. Also, funny story. My wife was actually kind of drawn to Valentino because of the name, because she is a Valentine's baby. She was born on Valentine's Day. So that was like sort of like one of the reasons that we, picked him over some other kind of similar sounding dogs. Not really. It wasn't really a big part of it, but it was something that she was like, is this, should we get Valentino, Valentine's kind of name?
How do you handle that for birthday and Valentine's Day? Do you get to take advantage of lumping everything into one fell gift swoop, or do you feel the need to segment it to make sure she's getting the same proper attention she would as if her birthday was later in the year?
Yeah, the former for sure. My wife, she's very low maintenance. For one thing, like she's just kind of like, she doesn't like Valentine's Day. She's like, this is my birthday. I don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day. So it's actually very, very simple. Obviously, we actually have been traveling on her birthday most weeks in recent years, which has been pretty nice. Just traveling all over the world during her birthday. But it's also just kind of coincides with the end of NFL season, so the timing works out really well. So we end up celebrating abroad usually, and kind of feels good.
Let me catch up with the chat here. Christopher Davis getting into the gifting membership mood here with 5 memberships. Thank you, Christopher, joining Mr. and Ben Weaver with some gifts today. Much, much appreciated. And Greg, yeah, I'm now noticing it after Greg's comment. Are you in the Ebenezer bathrobe fit right now? Do I see that correct?
This is not a bathrobe. This is just a shirt. This is just a shirt
Okay.
that I bought on Amazon. No, I didn't even put that together. That it kind of does look like a bathrobe. When you
Yeah,
can
I
only
thought.
see this part of it. No, it's a very stylish shirt that I got on Amazon or Target or
Man.
something.
I think next time you just lie. You just lie and
It
say
would've
it
been.
is.
I do have 3 or 4 bathrobes that I wear all the time that are within, I can't quite reach any of them right now, but I wear a lot of bathrobes. Yeah, I should get it. This actually would look good as a bathrobe, so I like that idea.
Sack says that Levitan needs to be careful. The best ability is availability. Neil might win the job now that he's on the field. Yeah. Are you kind of in the back of your head thinking about the opportunity to Wally Pip Levitan here?
Absolutely, and especially for the So You Think You Can Tout. I would have loved to judge all those little wannabe touts, the way Levitan and Silva got to. Yeah, it's always the goal.
So yeah, tell me, obviously we have the big episode dropping later this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on the So You Think You Can Tout channel. Do you have any takes on the show and the contestants thus far?
I mean, it's been very entertaining. I think so. So you asked me this before when we overlapped very briefly on the FanSpeak marathon
Oh, yeah.
show. And we talked about who I thought were the favorites to win, and I named Alex Cups as one of them. And it was kind of, for me at that point, it was between Alex Cups and the Toxic Tower trio. I thought they were all fantastic. Of course, now we're down to 2 of the trio. And then I also kind of throw out Neil Farley, who I feel like Neil Farley would be great. Like, I think he does great analysis. Like he is a great, like, analytical mind. I think I didn't love his initial submission, the kind of bit video. I'm like, he's just so sharp. I feel like there's a better way for him to do that. So who do I actually think is going to win, or who do I want to win? I kind of feel like Toxic Trio works well, or Toxic Tower works well together. I think I still say Cups. I think Cups, like, as much as I love the Kurt Rambis bit has been fun. I'm just not sure if that's a long-term thing for me that I can see working. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else is even in the competition. I'm just going to stick with Cups. I think he's he's got good vibes, and he's got analytics in the name. I have not tested, kind of to see, have not thought too much about, is he a great analytical mind? He seems sharp enough, and he seems like he's got good vibes. So I'll stick with Cups.
I'll ask you one thing in the same way, like people will see in this episode, I kind of asking Levitan and Silva, like things they're personally looking for. What kind of characteristics do they think it takes? I think it's interesting. You mentioned, Cups and Neil and some of these guys who are on more of the analytical side. This is obviously a reality TV show. People need to stand out. They need to catch people's attention. They need to win over fans. But I think even, from your trajectory too, of coming at this more from the data side and being more analytical with it, and then kind of becoming a personality along the way, like what kind of advice would you have for those guys who might not immediately capture someone's attention, but just seeing their body of work, their intelligence, how they approach the game can win over fans along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think they just need to lean into who they are. To me, like the long-term play is, if you want to be on a show with Pete, I think that you already bring enough entertainment, and not that you don't bring enough analysis, but I feel like you work really well. You've had a lot of the people that you've worked best with over the years have been people who are great at analysis, that are kind of digging deeper into the data. So I kind of think long-term, that is what is going to work best with you on a show, is somebody who is going to dive deep into the data. So I think, the other side of it is the people who are not currently, don't have analytics in their name, can also kind of lean more into that. I think there's a lot of sharp people who are capable of being getting deep into the weeds. But yeah, as far as it's kind of, it is a trickier thing to make yourself stand out as an analytics guy if you're not naturally charismatic. So I don't know that I'm the best person to be giving advice to them in trying to stand out. But I think their strengths, the Cups or Neil Farley, is their analysis. It's their analytical side. So I think you just kind of really do need to lean into that. And obviously you're throwing kind of curveballs at these guys. So I don't envy them as far as trying to do the various tasks that you're giving them, because I don't know if their strengths are necessarily what's going to, be what they need in those spots. But I think, just leaning into what they are best at. It's something that honestly I'm trying to do right now, is kind of lean into what I'm best at as in terms of content creation. And I think that's kind of the way to go.
Yeah. And I think, I've gotten the comment from multiple people. Levitan actually says it in this episode. It's not a spoiler. And Leone messaged it to me privately, both being like, I think I would have been bounced right away in this competition, when I was starting out.
Yeah.
And because you think about the body of work and people get to know you and see everything you can do, we're obviously hyper condensing all of that into a short time frame. And so getting people's attention and kind of showing your upside or what you can do, like that's a harder thing to convey. And so part of this contest too is like, people aren't going to be able to have a normal trajectory of doing that. But I do think, someone like Neil Farley is an interesting one because a lot of people were scratching their heads, kind of not knowing how strong he was as an analyst. And so I think it'll be interesting as the contest progresses. Can those guys actually demonstrate it? Or is it just, sorry, you don't have enough charisma to hook the fans to crush these challenges and your lane is better suited elsewhere?
Yeah, and that is also true. Like maybe Neil Farley isn't right for the show, and Neil Farley is. I'm a big fan of Neil Farley. I think he does like great analysis, really sharp guy. I think that he could crush it as a content creator, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he is right for the show. Like I don't know exactly if he is going to make it. I feel the same way that I would have been bounced immediately. Like just seeing the submissions and seeing like the review, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I would have made it past this Pat Mayo round. Like he would have been like, this guy is so vanilla, so boring, and never want to see him again. I'm sure I wouldn't have made it past that round. So yeah, I feel kind of the same way that, just to make it this far, it's really, really impressive for this group. I kind of think all of them can, kind of branch out on their own if they want to.
Yeah. And I think that's the fun thing. Even people who have already been bounced out that didn't even make the final 16. I mean, you're already seeing people highly motivated to make content. Shout out to Nick Hedgeland. He's been making a ton of fun bit videos ever since. He's told me that he will make it impossible for me not to pick him for the show if we do it again in the future. So I love that this is kind of encouraging people to start and get those reps in, because even someone like Nick, I already see him way more comfortable on camera than he was when he set his submission video in. And this is within just like 2 months of making a lot of content. So you can get more confident, more charisma pretty quickly if you just get the reps in, which I think is cool. And I think that's what you've done too. Like when all of the times you've been on camera, I mean, you've done hundreds and hundreds of hours of streaming, like you've naturally gotten better just because of that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still remember my first time on camera with Alex Baker, and it was just there were like so many times that I was like, oh my god, I misspoke. Like I used the wrong phrase here, and it was just awful. And even like I'm certainly not a natural when it comes to content, but yeah, just like doing it over time, you get a little bit more comfortable, and just being comfortable goes a long way.
We are in a Best Ball Mania draft here. I'm going to draft from the 111 again, same spot I just had. This time, of course, drafting with Neil, not Farley, Orfield from the Flannelverse here. This is draft number 39. It's funny you mentioned Osimo because, like, thinking about it within the realm of all of this stuff, like, he might be one of the most dry delivery people that you'll see on camera. He's obviously done a ton of streams and content, but because he's so fucking good at DFS and so smart, it almost, the people who care about the information are willing to put aside like, all right, he's not going to have a bag of tricks or the most charisma in the world, but I care about his information so much that I'm still going to tune in.
Yeah. He was one that, like, if he was on a show, I wanted to watch that show because I'm like, I can learn so much more from him than from like your standard DFS tout. Most of them are losing money playing DFS. And it's like, you got one of the best DFS players on the planet. It was funny, like doing shows at Osimo at the time, you would hear people complain about it, like, oh my god, you have this guy on again. And the funny thing is, the first few times that he was on a show, it was with, like, I don't know, it was with Adam and Josh were doing a show together, and I hated it at first. Like the first couple times I saw Alex, I was like, man, like they become so much drier. Like it goes from like a super entertaining show to like they're clearly kind of uncomfortable having the boss there, and like I didn't enjoy the first few times, but over time it was like, oh my god, I need to watch everything this guy does, because he's clearly like one of the sharpest DFS players on the planet. You can learn so much from him, and that's kind of what we really want ultimately.
All right, we are on the clock here. Are you going to do the Minnesota thing with Justin Jefferson? Okay.
100%.
No hesitation. Talk to me about Justin Jefferson with Kyler Murray this year.
I mean, it's just, I actually, after being so brutally hurt last year by drafting all of the JJ McCarthy, it's not something that I'm actively targeting like ahead of ADP, but at the 11 spot, I think, that's a pretty good spot to get Justin Jefferson. And we can pair him with one of these elite running backs. Happy with any of James Cook, Saquon Barkley, really just those two, I guess. James Cook.
I say we do Cook. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to get Jefferson and Cook teams together.
Agreed.
Yeah, so the turn went Hampton and Bowers, almost like an exact replica of the conversation we had on the first draft, where someone was asking about pulling up Bowers with, say, Jeanty at that turn. Yeah, interesting pick there, but I think the way I like to handle those spots is just give me the ADP faller, or the highest ADP value, and know that that's going to make the natural combos with those two a lot more rare.
Yeah, absolutely. That is usually my approach. I mean, this one is like, I bet there are some people who have this one, but I love that approach generally. And I agree with you. Like, this is going to be a rarer combo, just pulling up Cook because we already got Jefferson falling, especially just kind of as a tiebreaker where there are, you know, a number of players in that range that feel kind of similar to me. To get a more unique combo at that turn definitely feels like the right approach.
One other thing, just to put a bow on the combo about Osmo, it was funny. Like, this was the first year I did shows with Utica on Fridays after the Jam to Win show. We had the block party and then the Bully the Sims. And it was funny how like polarized some of the comments were at the beginning of like, oh, Uta's so dry, etc. Like, you know, coming after a guy like Jam to Win, who's such a great narrator of his thoughts and articulating his thought process. But because Uta was so sharp and his takes were so reliably spot on, and his reads and just how he talked about football was so different than any other tout show, like all of those comments eventually washed away. Maybe those people left who weren't compelled, but the people who were around then were there for those takes, and he ended up becoming a draw of himself. And so that is the other funny thing. Like, people are going to have different skill sets, and ultimately I think what you're looking for out of the content is going to determine what keeps you around. And this was a huge push-pull of the conversation with Levitan and Silva, the balance of entertainment with information, and how do you pull that off, because you can't over-index on one or the other.
I will say, I have found now I've been in the industry long enough to like learn that anytime I go to a new place, like if I start at a new company doing content for them, there's always comments. Like the first day, there are a few people who hate me. Like, it's kind of like the way that it always goes. But then the same thing when I've left companies, then you see people being like, where the hell is Neil? Who's this new guy? Why do you have this new guy here instead of? So I feel like there are people who just dislike change. So you might have been experiencing that to some extent also with Uta, just like, this is not what I'm used to from you, Pete. Why are you bringing on Utica instead of whoever else you have on? So that could be a factor also. But yeah, I think that probably you're right, that it's just Utica was just so good, like head and shoulders better than almost anybody doing content. He's just such a great DFS player that hopefully you get people that eventually accept it. They're getting good information rather than maybe the top tier entertainment.
For sure. All right, we are about to pick here on the clock. We go James Cook, Justin Jefferson. ADP, you're looking at Josh Allen, Zay Flowers, Tetairoa, Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson. Who would you like here?
I like Zay Flowers here. Yep.
That's my favorite pick as well. We'll see what the turn does here, and then we'll be back on the clock. Do you have a thought on like Josh Allen with James Cook? Do you like that? Not like that? I
have like less than 1% Josh Allen right now, so I'd be fine doing it if you want to go Josh Allen.
I don't feel strongly about it. I mean, I have 0% Josh Allen right now. He does fall back to us here. So you're getting like a 8-pick ADP drop, but also happy to go like a Garrett Wilson, a Tetairoa.
Yeah, I could do Tetairoa or Garrett. Well, yeah, I think those are the two names that kind of stick out to me. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Tet.
All right, we got Tet there. Yeah, so just like I mean, now we can talk it out because we didn't do it, but yeah, even with the ADP value, the team level correlation, no Josh Allen for you there.
I honestly, I would have been fine doing it. Part of the reason is because we took Zay. I'm kind of like, well, maybe we're able to push quarterbacks in this room a little bit more than usual, and we might actually be able to get Lamar at the next turn. But then we kind of wouldn't be able to do that if we took Josh Allen. I think that's kind of giving up too much to take two quarterbacks that early. So if we had not taken Zay there, I think I would have been more inclined to take Josh Allen, but kind of giving ourselves the option of taking Lamar feels better.
That's a really good point and something to game out there because, well, one, the last draft I just did from the 11, Lamar was available to me at pick 59. And two, I've seen teams do exactly that, take Zay and Josh Allen here, and then come back and take Lamar. And then, they regretted it in hindsight, having spent, that much capital on two quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's just too much to spend on quarterbacks. Quarterback is so strange this year. It's tough to figure out exactly what to do with, quarterbacks kind of condensing so many going in that kind of range from the end of the 5th round through the, 9th or 10th round. There's just so many quarterbacks go in that range. That there's part of me that's like, well, you can, you're not spending that much more to get the elites, but in terms of like rounds maybe, but then you look at the actual player groups that go later on, it does feel like you're giving up kind of a lot in terms of projection.
Woo Benny, I mean, hang on. Actually, this was the question I was trying to pull up. Has Neil given you a flannel verse hat? Thank you for mentioning that. Here we go.
I'm excited for this big reveal.
The stream debut of my flannel verse hat still's got the sticker on it.
Yeah.
It seems very appropriate with you on here. Are these still available for purchase, or these influencer only at this point?
So they have never actually been available for purchase. They've been, you can win them if you rock the Flannelverse avatar and win win at least $1,000 in a contest has been the primary way to win it. Nice. But I think I've sent out more to people who have just helped me out with the Flannelverse. It's been a lot of people like yourself who have kind of helped me grow the channel. So it's kind of an appreciation thing, or you can win it if you use the avatar.
There you go. There you go. And yes, luckily the swear jar is not in effect this year, but I did slip up and call him Tet. Lamar does not come back. We will survive. We have Jefferson, James Cook, Zay Flowers, Tetairoa McMillan about to be on the clock at 5'11". As far as running backs, you got Judkins, Price, Tootin here, Watson, Tyson also on the board. Who do you think we go with here?
After we see who goes, I guess it's too late for them. I like Watson here. I like going Christian Watson, and then maybe one of those running backs makes it back to us at the turn.
Yeah. Are you worried if we both of them go, then getting shut out and going like only one running back through 6? Okay.
Not even slightly worried.
Are you?
Slightly. I guess maybe slightly.
But Watson is such a clear tier for you ahead of these other wide receivers. Is that kind of what you're hinting at?
It feels better to me. I guess. So I had the conversation with Gretsch on the podcast that he's kind of not a huge believer in Carnell Tate, and then you got Jordan Tyson. I think going to kind of take a while to get there. Luckily, we're going to get at least one of those running backs to come back to us. It would have been a clearer decision if Judkins had not gone, because to me, those running backs don't feel all that different to me. But yeah, I'm happy to just take Jadarian Price here.
Yeah, I think Jadarian Price at 6'2" slips past ADP. We get him paired with James Cook. We have the 4 solid wide receiver ones leading off this team. Really strong team. Cook, Price, Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson. Catching up on the chat, guys. We have addressed this. Neil does not have on silk pajamas. He definitely should have lied and told us he did. It's just a shirt that happens to look like silk pajamas. And he did say, if so, touts are the new hedge fund managers if you're wearing a full silk robe here today, Neil.
Yeah. Touts are making tons of money out here. Yeah. Sorry to disappoint. I don't know. It's just a really cool, stylish t-shirt.
So talk to me about your Vikings this year. Obviously a super interesting team with the new variable of both Kyler. We get the addition of Jauan Jennings. I think there's a lot of intrigue with how to play the backfield. What does Jennings and the quarterback mean for Jordan Addison? I think everybody agrees Jefferson's going to do Jefferson things, but man, there's a lot of other wrinkles. How are you kind of playing it out as far as in drafts?
I have a lot of the running backs and a lot of Kyler. I think Kyler is like the clear best value. And I should note that this is also probably influenced pretty heavily by using the sidekick. You see Kyler at the top of the queue pretty frequently, but he's a talented quarterback. We've seen Kyler be a just great fantasy quarterback, and now he's in probably the best situation of his career. The best pass catchers playing for Kevin O'Connell, who has prior to last year had been kind of a quarterback whisperer. I think that Kyler could be due for a pretty big bounce back here. And the Vikings offensive line was pretty banged up all of last year. There were very few games where you had the full offensive line healthy, and many games where you had like 3 starters hurt from the offensive line. So I think you get a healthier offensive line, you get a better or just competent quarterback play from Kyler in there with Kevin O'Connell. I do think that this offense should be able to take a pretty big step forward. As far as the pass catchers, it's tougher with Jauan Jennings. I really love Jordan Addison where he was going previously. This does complicate things a little bit because it's not that clear that Addison is like a clear step ahead of Jauan Jennings. I think he's the more talented receiver than Jauan Jennings, but yeah, it's a little bit murky. Like I said, I like Jefferson at the end of the first round. I like the running backs just because they're going, they're going in the same range again, but they're going 40 picks later than they were going last year. And I thought they were pretty good bets last year. Now you get a healthier offensive line. So I do like Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason a bit. I'm not a huge believer in the talent of either of them at this point, but I think if the offensive line is healthy and you get the offense going, they should be able to score some touchdowns.
Do you think there's any possibility for, Damon Claiborne to be like, Bill isn't like the greatest comp because of how it actually shook out. I guess it'd be more like a Kyle Monangai type thing where he just forces himself into being like the clear number 2 of those 3.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. Like we did not see much from the Vikings running backs last year. We saw Xavier Scott coming in and, making a splash there for a little while rather than Jordan Mason holding it down. I don't think it's super likely, but I think it's definitely within the realm of possibility.
All right, on the clock here, a couple of running backs, Harvey, Rico, Monangai. You could set up Jaden Reed if you're heading for a double stack with Love. What do you see?
Yeah, I like Reed here, I think.
All right, let's do Jaden Reed. I do not. Let me see my combos here. Yeah, I have Christian Watson, 10.3%. I have not paired him yet with Jaden Reed. So that will be a fun look if we can pull off the double there. We got 2 running backs, 5 wide receivers. Considering we do have Love, we have Bryce Young, we have Kyler in our back pocket, I do wonder if like a Harvey, Rico, Monangai quorum here makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say either Harvey or Rico would be my preference. Yeah, I will take Patrick Mahomes here, but I do think we have a lot of back stacks kind of figured out.
Yeah, these are kind of 2 interesting names. Certainly, you're kind of paying for different things with these 2, Harvey and Rico. If they're both here, do you have a lean?
I would go Rico.
Okay, well, it works out. Harvey goes in front of us. We are going to grab Rico as our running back 3. I mean, in a lot of ways, the Rico Warren is just the like slightly sexier version of the Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason duo.
Yeah, 100%. It's, and is anybody going to be surprised if the Vikings backfield outscores the Steelers backfield? Maybe slightly surprised, but yeah, I think it is just a little bit souped up version of that backfield. And I see Jewish McCaffrey asking if I have a take on Warren versus Dowdle. I don't have a take at all on those 2. I usually, it's similar to what the Vikings were last year. It's kind of like, I'm just going to let the other drafter, like if they're both still available to me, I will usually pass and, try to let somebody else make that decision for me because I do not have a great take. Dowdle was like really good last year for a stretch when he was the lead back. But I think it's going to be just a pretty even committee. I think I have the same take as everybody else. Did you have a different take?
No, I think my take is just like, I guess I don't necessarily understand why Warren is going ahead in that. To me, Rico just feels like our generation's Najee in that it's going to be business as usual for how they deploy Warren. I think it's Warren over the years, we've all been tantalized by his upside, knowing how good he can be in both the pass game and as a rusher. And yet the team is just never committed to turning him into a full bell cow back. Like we all wanted the Austin Eckler arc for Jaylen Warren, where you show that skill set, and then eventually the path is paved for you to be the dude, a guy we draft in round 1 for multiple years. And granted, we're not drafting him in round 1, but it's like, I mean, Rico is going to touch the damn ball. Like it's just going to happen.
I honestly had not even noticed that there is this big of a discrepancy in where they go. Warren going, more than a round earlier than not more than a round, but going about a round earlier.
Yeah.
Than Rico Dowdle. To me, it's just a total toss up. Who's going to be the guy there? Because Dowdle, it was pretty good last year.
James Cook, Jadarian Price, Rico, 5 wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed. I would say like this structure of a build feels really good. It's just, can you nail the quarterback selections in this window, accomplish what you want with the targets, the stacking, and then the tight end stuff always works itself out. So assuming we can get some of our guys, Kyler does go, so that stings, but we still have options here.
Yeah, we still have plenty of options. I'm feeling good about where we're at. Kyler would have been nice to still have Kyler there. I also, part of the reason that I was leaning towards Rico Dowdle is I thought we maybe would have J.K. Dobbins available to us at this turn. He just goes also. I've seen him fall quite a bit recently. He's been kind of all over the place. I am actually Jonathon Brooks here.
can I sell you on just locking up Love first?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
we can
getting
lock up
Brooks?
Love. Okay, yeah.
I do think we put ourselves in a really bad or a tougher spot at quarterback.
We're fine, Pete.
Here.
We're fine. Come on, we can always get Aaron Rodgers later.
So-
There's plenty of. You don't need to stack anymore. Come on, have you used the sidekick at all? Just the new meta is throw it all out the window. Just take the best value here. No,
So
I
obviously-
like Love there with the double.
Yeah. As far as Brooks, I mean, it's not a reach by any means. I guess it's an interesting conversation in relation to Corum still being on the board in falling, but it sounds like you like Brooks way more than Corum.
No, I part of the reason that I did give in to your demands for Jordan Love is because I noticed that Corum is still available there. So yeah, now I'm like, I'll take what you.
Oh, okay. and then Brooks goes. So
no, we can get Corum. I'm
wrong.
totally happy to get Corum here.
Okay.
Also. Yeah. As soon as I realized that, I was like, okay, we shouldn't jump for Jonathon Brooks with Corum still there. Yeah, no, that's great.
What it does seem like, was the enthusiasm for Brooks, is that like in a vacuum, or is it because like, hey, we have Tetairoa, let's just build out a thing on Panthers outperforming?
I'm just getting all the Jonathon Brooks I can right now. I think the hype is going to get there with, I think it's starting to get there with Brooks. Just like seeing him out there on a field, I think is already like people are taking him earlier and earlier. And to me, Chuba Hubbard last year lost his job for a stretch. Like the way the team was talking about Chuba Hubbard last year was like, yeah, he was great for this organization. It was kind of like they were talking about him like he was retiring. Like they're just like, they have no more use for Chuba Hubbard. I kind of think that Jonathon Brooks is going to be the RB1 sooner rather than later. If not to start the year, I think he's going to win that job if he can stay healthy, which obviously is still somewhat of a question. But I think, some of the things we've heard from Twitter docs is that, he had a second procedure and is probably good now. And he's probably going to be good to start the year. And he was, an electric prospect coming in. So I think with the way that the team was, I think kind of getting less enamored with Chuba Hubbard last year. And now you have Brooks coming in and like seemingly fully healthy at this point. And, you even had, I think it was Jonathan Stewart, saying like, watch out for Jonathon Brooks. Like you've had all this kind of hype. And I just think that the talent is there. And Chuba has never been like a special talent. So I think Jonathon Brooks at some point is the RB1 on a team that likes to run.
Yeah, it's like if you game it out and you say there is no injury in this backfield, I still think like what you're probably hoping for at best is like Jonathon Brooks retains the Jaylen Warren value here, and like Chuba is like the Rico back. And in that scenario, you're getting what, 3.5 rounds of CLV on the pick. So that's like, if that's your lean on Brooks, I think that makes a ton of sense. I have a harder time envisioning him just fully dusting Chuba in the same way I don't think Jaylen Warren's ever going to fully dust Rico Dowdle. That would be kind of my, in the standalone upside scenarios, it's not as juicy as maybe the Brooks Bowls would imagine.
As a huge Brooks Bowl, I disagree. I think that he's just more talented than Chuba. Chuba, like incapable, like not a great pass catcher. And again, was kind of losing some of his hold on the job last year. So I think that if Brooks does come out and shows what we thought he was going to be a couple of years ago, I guess I'm more hopeful.
We're on the clock. Let's make this first pick and then we can decide, talk through some stuff. What do you like here?
Is Omar Cooper there?
Let me see quickly. Yes. You like Omar Cooper?
Yeah, I think I like Cooper here.
Okay. Yeah. The other option would have been to do like Coker and set up the double there. I will say we should talk through quarterback stuff. We have one quarterback. Bryce has an ADP right around where we pick next. It could look really, really bad if we don't get him and we pass on quarterback here. My thought would be to maybe take a Malik Willis, a naked quarterback, just to give us a little flexibility there.
Yeah, I'm fine taking Malik. I have like 0 Malik Willis also, so yeah, happy to add some.
Okay. Talk to me about Omar Cooper. Seems like a guy you like a little higher than ADP.
Yeah, honestly, he's one that I have kind of chosen to not go with often when the sidekick has recommended him, because I've been a pretty big Travis Hunter bull. But yeah, just has the draft capital, goes to a situation where he's pretty likely to be the wide receiver 2. Maybe the Jets play a little bit better this year. But ultimately it's just, a rookie with high draft capital. and we're getting him in the later rounds. Clearly has some talent, looks good in all the prospect stuff that I've read. So and I had the conversation with Gretch. So that was one of the things that I brought up with Gretch as somebody who, I'm more enamored with, like, but Travis Hunter was the second overall pick. What if they do use him more at wide receiver? He's got all these paths. I want to take Travis Hunter. So I brought up Omar Cooper versus Travis Hunter, and he kind of convinced me that Omar Cooper probably actually has the higher upside there to have like a full season of like pretty strong production.
And we do this year in and year out. Obviously, the underdog market has gotten more efficient with these first round rookies and just understanding their range of outcomes. But he's obviously getting penalized for being on the fucking Jets, being a wide receiver 2 behind Garrett Wilson, like yada, yada. I get it. But there is no kind of hit in fantasy football that looks more obvious in retrospect than a first round rookie hitting. And us being like, how did we miss that? And it's like, well,
it was literally Garrett Wilson a few years ago.
Yeah, and like Garrett Wilson, better prospect than Omar Cooper Jr., clear runway, I think, for targets. But yeah, I think it's wait, was Garrett Wilson's rookie year with Devontae?
No. I think he was the pretty clear wide receiver one.
Yeah. Team. So I don't know if it's a clean 1-for-1 parallel, but just this idea of a round 1 rookie, outperforming a draft cost where a lot of the downside risk is baked out in this range. Like, sure, is there a little, look at the names going after him. Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed, Jawan Jennings, Jalen McMillan. Like, you have real big downside risk for all of those. And of all those guys we just named, Omar Cooper's like the only one who could be drafted in the top 5 rounds next year, even after a good scenario, because of where the trajectory of a young breakout would put him on.
Yeah, exactly. He just has the kind of upside we need here. And honestly, probably some floor, like I said, round 1 wide receiver, like usually you get to see some usage there. So it's more complicated on the Jets than it usually is, because I think Adonai Mitchell is actually pretty good. They obviously added Kenyon Sadiq. They've already got a second-year tight end with some talent. So it's a little bit more crowded than I would like it to be, but ultimately they spent the draft capital. You have to imagine they're planning on using him. So where we're getting him, I think I like the floor ceiling combo.
Shout out to the chat for reminding me it was Elijah Moore coming off a good rookie year opposite Garrett Wilson. We are on the clock here. I think you want to pull the trigger on Bryce Young to lock him up here at ADP.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's
Especially
get Bryce
the guy
Young.
Going after us just took Jalen Coker.
Ooh, good. Very good call there. We could not allow him to snipe us there. So we get our 3 wide receivers now. Love, Willis, Young. We got the 4 running backs, Cook, Price, Rico, Corum, and a really solid crew of 6 wide receivers. Is this where we venture into Hunter Henry or Hawkinson territory?
I'd maybe go one more running back and then just jam late tight end. So I like Woody Marks, or I assume Keaton Mitchell went.
Let's see here. Keaton Mitchell is gone. You like Woody Marks as the pick here?
Yeah, probably Woody Marks.
So Woody Marks, I haven't selected him a lot, but he falls a good bit here. A full round past ADP. And this sets us up potentially for a four tight end room.
Yeah, exactly. It's just we're pretty covered. Running back, we could still use one more running back, but I like enough of the later tight ends that I'd be fine doing, 3 tight ends and maybe one more running back on this team.
I will indulge this comment just because I do think you should put a button on the conversation about rookies. Go AZ Card says round 1 rookie, insert Kadarius Toney here. What could go wrong? The most likely outcome is stuff goes wrong for every round 1 rookie. That is the most likely scenario. The whole reason we attack these guys is because when they do hit, they hit in a way that so massively outperforms their draft costs that it makes the landmines worth sifting through. Like, that's always been the case. If you want to build the highest floor possible team, do not ever select a rookie. Like, just do not select a rookie, but we are willing to take on the risk because the prize is so high when it does hit.
Yeah, I was just going to search Kadarius Toney. Didn't he have a good rookie year? Like, I think that he played well, but like got suspended or something. I'm trying to remember
he was
like
Kadarius suspended and hurt.
Trajectory.
I always remember the game he came in against the Giants and had like the 16 catches and just absolutely exploded. But I think it was even bumpy getting to that moment.
Yeah. 57 targets his rookie year, 39 receptions. Okay, yeah. But still, like, that's, it's obviously it's not great, but that's in 10 games. Like he started 4 games, kind of gave you at least the like little spike weeks that you needed there from Kadarius Toney, despite everything kind of going wrong. And that's kind of the nice thing. Like, yeah, things are likely to go wrong, but also like the team just invested a lot in him. Like they want to like give him opportunities his rookie year.
And this is a good point from Rohan. Round one rookies being Jahan Dotson is a huge hit in year one. And this is kind of the conversation the fellas on ADP chasing have been having about DeJon Stribling, where you can be right from a dynasty standpoint that this guy isn't good, doesn't have a long, successful career in the NFL. But these teams are basically to like save face and show that the capital they spent is worth it, are very much compelled to give these guys looks at the end of the season and showcase them, because no one wants to look like they whiffed on a pick. So you're going to get that opportunity window, which essentially gives you two outs. Like either they're good and force playing time right away, or they just get showcased at the end of the year. Gunnar Helm, Cade Otton, Pat Fryermuth. You got a tight end you like here?
Yeah, I'd probably just go Cade Otton.
Cade Otton, let's grab him here. I will say in a tight end 4 build with Malik Willis, Dulcich, who continues to get a little buzz, could make sense for us. Assuming we do get to 4 tight ends, we are just tight ends the rest of the way here.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. We'll kind of see. I think 3 or 4 tight ends works for this team. I love the Dulcich call. I think Dulcich could be good this year. Fryermuth, I think, is also a strong one. If we just want to build out like some pretty safe tight ends, I think Fryermuth with no Jonnu is going to look pretty good this year too.
Yes. Yeah, pick your favorite of like Fryermuth or Helm here.
I think it'd be Fryermuth for me.
Yeah. Let's grab Fryermuth. We'll get a boring ass but serviceable tight end room here. Go AZ Cards did want to ask, when you're punting tight end, is there a tight end line where you want your first one out? Because we just took our first one at pick 179. So that line is pretty far back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. Like I usually I will have a tight end before we took one. It was just kind of where things were falling. I'm okay pushing it because I do feel pretty good about some of these later tight ends. I think Greg Dulcich to me is like has a pretty high ceiling, and I guess I can't really call him high floor just because he is on the Dolphins and everything could fall apart. But I like Terrence Ferguson late. I think there are a number of, I actually like Michael Mayer on Las Vegas. I think is an interesting late name tight end. He can go with Colby Parkinson. We just got 2 of the better. Like I think Cade Otton's a pretty good tight end. Like he's shown the ability to spike when like Mike Evans is out, and now Mike Evans is gone. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to be like an elite tight end for the full season, but he could have a few spike weeks this year, especially if we do get one of his teammates out, one of the wide receivers out for a few games.
Well, we've seen like with I would say Cade Otton, and granted, these are all different players with different skill sets, but like the comparables for me are like Mike Gesicki when T Higgins and Chase are healthy is like almost unusable. And then you remove one of those and all of a sudden he's averaging 7 to 8 targets a game. We get Mike Evans out of the offense. We've seen stretches where Cade Otton was getting peppered with targets a little bit more. So if we play that out, if the rookies don't come on, if there's injuries, like it's not hard to envision him, getting 6 to 7 targets a game, being a threat in the red zone. Like in the wildest of outcomes, could he give us like a Jake Ferguson sun run type, first half of the season because there's injuries? Like I can see that within it. I mean, he's not going to be a guy who's scoring 25 points week 15 through 17, but there's enough there as part of a 4 tight end room where it works.
Yeah. It's funny. I see Martin says, we're still doing the Dulcich thing. This isn't 20. Did you not watch last season, Martin? Come on, man. He was pretty good last year. He toward the end of last year when Dulcich was healthy, like he was starting to look pretty good. And now just the Dolphins just have nobody to throw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Dulcich here.
All right. Yeah, I do too. And then the other interesting thing, and I'm kind of surprised he's still here, but like in a room like this, I don't mind throwing on Stowers as like, what if?
Big time.
Like, what if he's the dude that gives us the juice we want? And these, we have our 5 to 6 targets, for some of these dusty tight ends, but can we have someone that could potentially score 18 or 20 in the fantasy playoffs?
Yeah, no, I like that call. Stowers been a big part of my portfolio this year. Yeah, and I assume like Calvin Ridley's gone. If MarShawn Lloyd was here, those are like the kind of names where I'd consider going away from the 4 tight end. But I think we can just do the 4 tight end build with Stowers. It feels good.
Dude, I love how this shook out here. I think my inclination would have been to take Hunter Henry over Woody Marks, but I liked your call of getting that running back who's at least going to project for some kind of standalone role there a little bit. and then trust that we'd be able to make it work at tight end. And the fact that we're able to get Dulcich stacked with Willis and then Stowers as an upside pick as tight end 4 at 206, I think it works.
Yeah, I think the team ultimately, like, we went about it in kind of a roundabout weird way, but ultimately we've got a strong team. I think we've got nice stacking on the team also. So it all kind of came together well. This is like lower than I usually spend draft capital wise on running backs. But the running backs that we have, I mean, we got Corum at a really nice discount. I mean, man, we got him 26 spots if I'm, or is it 16 maybe? I can't tell the screen a little bit small. 16 spots best ADP.
Yeah, ADP at 94.4. We get him at 110. Let me recap the full team here as the rest of this draft finishes. We also have a ton of week 17 correlation throughout this thing as well, which is fun. So we have Jordan Love, Malik Willis, Bryce Young, a 3 quarterback room, 5 running backs, James Cook, Jadarian Price, Rico Dowdle, Blake Corum, Woody Marks, the 6 wide receivers with 5 of them coming in the top 90 picks, Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers, Tetairoa McMillan, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Omar Cooper, and then the 4 tight end build there starting at pick 179. We get Otten, Freiermuth, Dulcich, Stowers. You know, some of those stacks, we get the Love double with the Woody Marks bring back week 17. We have Willis, Dulcich, and James Cook in week 17, which is a nice one. We get a little Carolina, Seattle with the Bryce Young stack, and then you bring it back with Jadarian Price in week 17. I mean, Minnesota even, we have the Justin Jefferson, Omar Cooper. I like that one. And even the Rams, we get Blake Corum opposite Cade Otton. And I mean, we didn't even really discuss week 17 correlation throughout the draft. It just came together.
Yeah, beauty. And that was not even really intentional, but that is kind of a nice thing when you can bring in the week 17, get some upside on this team. No, I think this one's pretty nice.
I like it. Yeah. I'm trying to think back, like anything that could have maybe gone differently. I mean, we did talk about the path of like prioritizing Brooks, then locking up maybe Bryce Young. Obviously we get Bryce Young, but there was that. But at least with tight ends, I don't think I have any regrets there. Oh, it was, doing Jalen Coker instead of Omar Cooper. That could have been another play there.
Yeah, I did. After I said, especially because I have so much Omar Cooper and like don't have that much Jalen Coker after he was a big part of my portfolio last year, like it would have made sense to take Jalen Coker there, fall in a little bit, give us the ability to get multiple double stacks. So I like minor regret there, but you know, at least allowed us to talk about Omar Cooper a little bit, if nothing else.
A-Word asking about Malik Washington. I do think it's interesting to talk about some of the other pass catchers on the Dolphins. How have you been thinking about those guys?
I haven't been. Honestly, I have not been taking a ton of Dolphins pass catchers outside of Dulcich. Just he's got the tight end eligibility. I feel like if he is the number 1 target, you just get the most out of Dulcich. It's one of those things that my guess is that later on in the summer, as things do start to clarify there with the Dolphins pass catchers, I'll probably get to more and more of them. But yeah, as of right now, it's just such a mess with the Dolphins pass catchers that outside of getting Dulcich, who I think probably has the best odds of being their number 1 pass catcher. And he's got the tight end eligibility. I like Dulcich. I'm not really taking much of any of the others. There was a period where I was taking some Malik Washington. But yeah, lately it's been kind of a tough one. And there are some other players that I like in that range. So I just have not been thinking about it much, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it must have been ship chasing, or maybe it was last time I drafted with Kerrane, but just talking about like, if you make the Malik Willis bet, we know, the majority of that value is going to come from the rushing. You just hope he's competent enough as a passer that the entire offense doesn't sink. But it's one of those spots where Dulcich does seem like the best way to play some correlation. I think you do HN with Willis also makes sense to me, because I think if HN succeeding, Willis is going to be competent. But then, to only have to spend pick 203, get a guy who I do think is legitimately the favorite to lead them in targets. And to get that correlation super cheap is just a really almost all upside, no downside way to play the Dolphins.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, I've thought more and more recently, it's like, man, but last year when he was really good, that was with Tua. Like it was not with Malik Willis, which is to me a pretty big downgrade. Although Malik Willis actually looked better than I think of him as being last year. He was actually a pretty competent passer last year, even if that's not what we're drafting him for. So yeah, I have some concerns with Dulcich just from the standpoint of like Malik Willis might not throw that much, but ultimately, if we're taking Malik Willis, then it's a strong correlation And where he's going in drafts, I think also just a pretty strong bet.
One thing you guys can do with the solver when you are done with the drafts, pop out the widget, go to draft reports, and you can generate an image here of the draft report. And then you can kind of see a few different things, just what you spent draft capital by position. One thing that Neil and I got in this draft was a lot of nice ADP value, 21.8 total there. Draft capital value, 16.5. Man, I will say, Neil, like this was my 39th draft. I don't remember one feeling as clean as this one did from all the things we were trying to accomplish. And I think like a huge takeaway too is, man, like late tight end just makes everything else easier to accomplish.
It does. And I'm still a sucker for some of the, Brock Bowers, especially. I feel like I am still just like, you can just envision the 110 catches or, some crazy season from Brock Bowers. So I'm still a sucker for it, but ultimately like, it's just so easy to do late tight end that I do kind of do it more and more frequently. I find myself often like, even if I get like a falling Sam LaPorta, I'll often be like, I can just get, 3-4 pretty strong tight ends later. So I think the people who have always been out on elite tight end have kind of have kind of gotten my head a little bit to where I'm doing fewer and fewer of the elite tight ends, because it does feel pretty good when you can just throw on 3 or 4 and like these are all guys who could get 600 yards in a season, and throw them together and get the mix right. Could really be a strong group.
D-Boot says, sounds like Pete is getting a little bit more than 4 tight end curious. I mean, I don't think you can say curious anymore. We just did it. It wasn't just talking about it. I mean, I did a post on Craigslist and I said, looking for someone to get hella freaky with me with tight ends. Neil immediately responded. I actually wasn't in his DMs. Neil actually replied to my Craigslist posting.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I could help you start with your experimentation with the 4 tight ends. Well, I'm excited to see where this journey goes.
That's right. Pax asking in the chat, opinions on taking Ayuk and Tyreek right now. Both are very hard clicks for me. The Tyreek thing is really tough because of how bad that injury was. I still think Ayuk is going to be playing football at some point this year. I think the market would get extremely excited about him. Obviously, if he lands with the Commanders and gets that Jaden Daniels pairing, there's clearly space there for a wide receiver like him. So I'm a little bit more open to Ayuk, but curious your thoughts, Neil, on these two.
I have not been drafting either of them. I think in part because like you get like Calvin Ridley so late, and he's already on a team and like was actually pretty good when he played last year. So it's a little bit tougher for me. Especially Tyreek, it's like when he comes back, he's probably going to be a slower version of who he was, and he's going to come back, second half of the season from what I've heard. So Tyreek to me is a really tough sell. Ayuk, I do think is the more interesting. We might get some more clarity today, right? This is like when you start to potentially get some clarity on the Ayuk situation. So he's one that I like. I could see myself majorly regretting that I have not been taking Ayuk later on in the summer. I just started taking Diggs. Honestly, so I might be a little bit behind on some of these unsigned wide receivers. But yeah, I think Ayuk you could sell me on. Tyreek is a tougher sell.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I did a couple months ago for Fantasy Life, I looked at all of the free agent veteran wide receivers, the Deebo Samuels, the Keenan Allens, and like going through the exercise, because I basically had like 0 of any of them. And I was trying to like audit kind of my portfolio. And Diggs was the one at the time where I'm like, I need to be more aggressive on this. Like he was very good last year, on a per route basis, cleared 1,000 yards. There's no reason to think that he can't deliver another good season at cost here. And again, maybe he's the guy that gets the Washington, landing spot, and all of a sudden that really shoots him up. I mean, we were talking on Ship Chasing the other day, like if he goes to the Chiefs, who have a big void right now, like there's some really good teams and really good quarterbacks who could be in the market for these guys. The CLV could be massive for a few of them.
And those are the teams that would make most sense for, like the Dolphins are not trying to sign Stefon Diggs. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like he's most likely going to be going to a good team. Yeah. The Chiefs are the one that I have. It's probably just Davis's fault. Like the Davis impact on the way we're thinking about this, telling us he's going to the Chiefs. Like, oh, he's just made for the Chiefs. So I've been thinking.
I did it too in the Fantasy Life newsletter the other day, where I'm like, it just makes so much sense. I mean, even his skill set of being the, if Rice is out for an extended period of time, boom, like Diggs fits that slot only role to a T. Even if Rice is good to go playing, they still need additional pass catchers there. He'd clearly be the fit in 3 wide receiver sets with Worthy, Rice, and be that third guy. And we know Diggs can like play a little bit outside too. He's not just a slot only type guy. It makes a ton of sense.
And the Chiefs just like betting on talent. They don't care about what's happening off the field. So they're just one of those organizations just like, yep, we'll take it. We don't care what he's doing off the field. We want to take a shot on the talent. So yeah, I think like from an organizational standpoint, it makes sense. From a like team makeup standpoint, it makes sense. And he could just be awesome if that does come together for him with playing with Patrick Mahomes. Could have one more 1,000-yard season in him, I think.
We're going to have Sam Sherman joining us here in about 5 minutes. Shout out to the chat. 642 of you hanging out today. And huge shout out to Neil Orfield for subbing in for Levitan. Levitan is at the ETR retreat. But guess what? I have a treat for you. Even if you were looking for Levitan on today's stream, you're going to get Levitan. He is a featured element of the So You Think You Can Tout Duo Challenge episode. Him and Silva grading all 8 of the submissions, all kinds of classic Levitan moments in that episode. So fear not, you'll get your dose of Levitan at 2 p.m. Eastern today. Before I get to a few other questions from the chat, Neil, let the people know, obviously got to check out the Flannelverse streaming schedule, new podcasts, make sure people know how to find you.
Yeah, I just a few weeks ago launched my new schedule. I'm just streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for now. I'll be streaming today at 4:30 Eastern, tomorrow at 4 Eastern, and then on Wednesday I just turned it into a podcast format, but I'll be streaming on YouTube, doing the live stream at 4:30 Eastern. I'll have JJ Zacharyson on this week for the podcast, where it's a little bit different, a different format than I've been doing. Rather than just drafting, I'm gonna throw some questions at him at the beginning that have been kind of on my mind. So looking forward to that. Yeah, so just Monday through Wednesday. That's Flannelverse YouTube channel. You can also find me on X at PlayerQDFS. Those are the spots right now.
One little for my Android bros out there, I had searched Best Ball everywhere in my Pocket Cast app. It didn't show up immediately, but then Neil had posted the iTunes link, and I just pasted the iTunes link into my app, and it immediately populated it. So depending on where you are, you should be able to easily find that podcast there. Fun question here to go out on from Go Easy Cards. He wants to know, like, just assuming the current ADP landscape, what would be your dream start for the first 3 picks, like within reason of what would be realistic?
Yeah, and I've done it, I think, a few times. Gibbs, Bowers, AJ Brown, I think is my dream. It's getting tougher with Bowers going a little bit earlier recently, but I think that I've gotten the Gibbs, Bowers, AJ Brown. I've been a huge AJ Brown bull for a month or so now. Since I started doing content, I've just been on the like hammer AJ Brown in the 3rd round, because I think he's going to move up to the 2nd round. We'll find out pretty soon if that's actually going to happen, if he does move all that much. But he's one that it's like, I think he's going to move, and I think he should move, because I think that once you pair AJ Brown with Drake May and that Patriots offense, it's going to be wheels up, as long as he can stay healthy. And he's honestly, he's only 29, so I think he's got as good of odds as anybody. I'm not really concerned about the knee stuff that people are starting to throw out there. I love that if I can get that trio, that's the dream.
Yeah, it's what do we always say? You think it's baked into the market, but I promise you, if the news happens today after 4 p.m., you're going to see some mid-2nd round AJ Brown. It's just like how things work.
Yeah. And like when I look at the names in the mid-2nd round, I feel pretty good taking them there.
Yep. All right, Neil, appreciate you coming by on short notice. We'll be checking out all of the streams, all the podcasts. Thank you for the Flannelverse hat. Thank you for the takes today. And we'll see you next time we get together for a show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Peace out. There goes Neil Orfield. Go follow him. All of his good stuff on the Flannelverse. And now, bringing in the defending champ. We weren't able to get together last week, but we are here today. Sam Sherman, how we doing?
I'm good. Good, Pete. Thanks for having me on. I just saw Neil was on briefly. I listened to his show with Gretsch actually this morning. It was great to see Gretsch back in the content game. I hadn't heard a lot of his early season takes, so recommend anyone who hasn't seen that, go check out Neil's channel for that show with Gretsch. It was really, really good.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like we're now, it's June 1st. Like even some of the people who go so hard for the year, who take a little time off a little bit, in the off season, now everybody's like, all right, we are in the thick of it. It's time to start getting those takes flying. What's changed for you in the past 2 weeks? We've obviously had a decent amount of news. Bucky Irving, the Josh Jacobs, we're all waiting on the AJ Brown stuff. Has anything really changed how you think about the ADP landscape?
Yeah, I think it's mostly been sort of the downside risk scenarios for those guys you mentioned. I think Jacobs, Neighbors, I think Bucky to a little bit of a lesser extent, I've been pretty out on. I think that has made the third round, like the middle of the third round, a bit more interesting. I think I've been pulling up guys like Devonta Smith, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne a bit higher because I am kind of dodging the downside risk of the Neighbors, Jacobs, Rice stuff a little bit. Just don't see the point, like at this point in the offseason, unless they really start to drop an ADP. I don't see the point in taking on the risk there. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing for me. I think also some of my late round targets I've solidified who I like there a little bit more. But yeah, it's mostly been those guys you mentioned, Pete.
Yeah, well, don't mention the late round targets. Let's mention them when we're on the clock and can grab them. But yeah, it's a good point because I guess the counter to like the downside risk is someone might say, hey, like this might be the last chance I can get Bucky Irving at pick 55 or Josh Jacobs at 43. But it's also drafting this early. Does a round and a half of CLV mean more than the risk of like a true zero or a guy who sinks your entire team?
Yeah, and that's for me. I just don't think the risk reward is worth it. Like when the Jacobs news first came out, I was like, okay, if he drops after David Montgomery, after DeAndre Swift, right? Some of those guys that, sure, their upside isn't amazing, but we feel quite good about the role stability. If he drops below those guys and I'm choosing between him and say, I don't know, Jalen Warren or Chuba Hubbard, like, sure, I'll take some stabs at Jacobs. But, you know, as a guy who his case was kind of always based on reliability more than upside to begin with. It's just like, man, am I really like losing out that much passing on him for some other running backs in that range? And then sure, if news breaks in his favor later in the offseason, I can still get some exposure in the mid third. I just don't think like he's fallen enough where it really makes sense from a risk reward standpoint.
One piece of news that came across a little bit ago, and we didn't talk about it with Neil, Giants are signing veteran wide receiver Braxton Berrios to a 1-year deal. I saw some speculation in the chat that like, how bad is this Malik Neighbors stuff? We got the news about the scope a little while ago. There was a video, I want to say over the weekend, was he at like some softball event and he was kind of like hobbling to first base. What is our concern level on Malik Neighbors right now?
Man, I've always kind of maintained that he's one of the toughest clicks on the board. I don't know like how much weight to put in the jogging softball video. It didn't look great though. Like I don't love to see that. He's pretty much a full fade for me. It's just been like a steady drip of negative news. Again, similar situation. If he was to fall meaningfully from where he is right now, I surely would take some stabs on him, like towards the 3-4 turn, 4th round. Sure. He's still like, in at least the drafts I've been in, he's consistently going still 2-3 turn. And I think there's just a lot of picks I like better there right now.
Here it is on screen, hits a single there and kind of limps his way. The throw was going to be bad anyway, so he didn't necessarily have to push it to be safe. And yet the gate, we are in full Zapruder film with how he looked after this hit. And
yeah,
it's like he's like almost dragging that second leg.
It's also like maybe he doesn't know baseball that well, but you're supposed to run through first base.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't stop there. He's like hobbling and stopping at first base. It's just a bad look. I also saw, I don't know if this was the same game, Pete. Did you see like the one where Ramondre Stevenson got like taken out, like his legs?
No.
I don't know if this was a different like charity game or something.
Comedian Matt Rife almost put Patriots running back Ramondre Stevenson on the ER at the. It has to be the same game, right?
Yeah, that has to be right. This video I did not love to see, as guys have been very heavy into Ramondre. Let's see. I think it's coming up here.
So Matt Rife gets stuck in a pickle.
Yep.
Oh my God, Matt.
Yeah. Look at the way his knee bent there was very scary. He got up and he's laughing and smiling, so I think it's fine. But yeah, that man. Okay, any player I have over 20% of, please don't play in any celebrity softball games. I've seen enough.
Yes, it's like, these guys, they play professional football. They need to take care of themselves. they can't just sit in a locked padded room like for the entire summer. I get it. But it's so hard when you're playing a sport, even a low impact one like baseball, to not have that competitive element kick in some of these live action scenarios. And it's like, obviously from our perspective, it's like, dude, Ramondre, just like step back and like flip the ball. Like, don't risk any of this. But he's like trying to get the dude out and he can't turn that part of his brain off. And he like risks a serious injury.
I think honestly, that is almost more on the comedian. I don't know who, Matt Wright.
Yeah.
He's diving head first into second base in a celebrity game. Dude,
the head first dive is ridiculous. He's actually a really polarizing comedian. He does like a ton of crowd work and he's a good looking dude. So his fans are like 85-90% women, and a lot of real comics don't like him and think he's kind of hack. He's really good off the cuff, like really good with improvised crowd work, but he's a polarizing dude. This would have polarized him to another level if Ramondre tore his ACL right here.
Jesus, yeah. No, that would have been ugly.
Real quick, there was some comments about the bike cam here, Sam. Did you purposefully adjust the bike as an Easter egg for the viewers?
I flipped around the direction, I think, this week. It's getting closer and closer to the staircase. Eventually, I'm sure I'm going to take it out this summer. So thanks to everyone who's been keeping me honest on my biking this summer. I appreciate it. It will get used eventually.
There you go. All right. We're going to draft here. Sam Sherman drafting with me. I believe, yes, this is my 40th Best Ball Mania draft. What kind of drafting numbers are we looking at? You've been in some of the time box contests, still easing into it?
Yeah, I'm probably like around, I think I saw this morning, I was at like 22 Best Ball Mania drafts and then a spattering of other random time box stuff. So yeah, probably around 25 or so. So I'm getting into it. I'm just trying to space out my drafts through the summer and get something close to 100 or so Best Ball Mania drafts. That's my rough goal, but we'll see what happens.
There we go. This was another thing. Jewish McCaffrey references. Is today the anniversary of when you drafted the winner? Was it June 1st?
Oh, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, that's a good. I didn't even realize that. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
Happy anniversary. I can't believe I forgot. I should have gotten you a cake, a card, flowers. I feel bad.
I know. No one's gotten me anything except for, Jewish McCaffrey in the chat here. So appreciate it. I guess
every other BBM winner, like Kerrane set up like a 24-hour live stream to celebrate the day his team won. And you are just so casual about it that you just got reminded by the chat and me that it even happened.
Yeah, sadly, I'm traveling to an undisclosed location for work this evening. Just got put on a new project, so it's not really a great time to celebrate an anniversary or do a 24-hour stream. But hey, I'm here with you, Pete, at least doing one draft. So let's make the most of it. See if we can, see if lightning can strike twice here.
That's right. All right, lots of pressure. 104 here. Puka Nacua, JSN, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. How do we capture lightning in a bottle again?
Let's do JSN for the bit of. I had him on my team last year, and let's see. let's see what happens. Draft him on June 1st last year. Let's try it again. Normally, I'm Puka over there, but it's close enough to a toss-up. Let's go with JSN and have some fun.
Yeah, you gotta lean into the bit, especially on the anniversary. We start with JSN here. People are saying you already got the best gift for this anniversary in the form of $2 million, but any good couple, on-stream couple, I need to be better. And I should have remembered that this was your anniversary. And for that, I apologize.
It's okay. I'm sure with some therapy, some counseling, we can get past this. I'll talk to Mike Vrabel's guy.
Seriously. Are you what do you assign the probabilities later today that we get word of this AJ Brown trade? Is it a lock for you, or you still think there's room for shenanigans?
Man, I don't know. I've been I've seen reports and stuff come across my timeline. It seems like it's pretty much a lock to get done. There's been a little bit of, the Patriots don't want to pay a first round price tag and blah, blah, blah. But I just can't imagine with all the actions both these teams have taken this offseason that the deal is not going to get done. It's maybe some last second haggling over what the exact price is going to be. But whether it gets done today, I don't know about that. I think it's still 95% plus to get done in the next week or so, would be my guess.
Yup. All right, let's see what we're going to do here in the mid to late second round. We see the traditional string of running backs come off the board here. All green: Cook, Walker, Brown, Jeanty, Barkley, Achane, Hampton, and then Drake London. Derrick Henry comes off, so we can't get that Derrick Henry big dog juice from last year. Love, Pickens, Nico, Brown, McBride, Brees. What do you like?
Let's do Nico here.
Nico, come on down.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I haven't done a lot of like light running backs through the first couple rounds. Like I think normally I'm taking Love there to kind of lock up the running back pick, but I'm kind of curious to see what happens, like pushing running back a little bit more than what's comfortable. So we'll see who comes back here. I'm just really high on Nico this year as a guy who could see a monster target share in Houston. And we know he has the per route efficiency if they, can be confident there.
Yeah, Nico's kind of like probably one of the least talked about players, I feel like, in this. Maybe Drake London, just kind of like the boring, steady dudes. But we know Nico even has an extra gear to his game that I don't even think Drake London has.
I agree.
You mentioned these two. They're both here. Brees Hall, ETN. Who do you like?
Yep. Let's do one of those guys. I think, let's see, unless there's any tiebreakers, I don't think there are. I'd go Brees, probably just go by ADP here. Yep. For me, between those two guys, it's like, I feel better about Brees's workload. I feel better about the Saints offense. I also feel a little bit better about Brees Hall's talent, though maybe that's kind of close, debatable. So it's a bit of a coin flip there. I'm kind of flipping that back and forth depending on the team.
We do have some additional breaking news here, Sam. Russell Wilson accepted job with CBS Sports for Sunday pregame show and more as the man who broke the, I want to say, Chris Boswell extension news. What are we doing with this news? Also, the end of the report says he still may not be retiring. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, so if he's still not retiring, I think he has to be part of the 20th round player pool on DraftKings. There's lots of quarterbacks, that may or may not be retiring. There's Derek Carr, there's Russell Wilson. I think you got to be mixing him in there in the 20th round if he's still, we saw what he could do last year in that game with Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 touchdowns, 400 passing yards. I think he's still worth the stab there.
All right, there you go. You heard it here first. Yeah, I feel like Russell Wilson does. I mean, he's kind of on the Aaron Rodgers arc where it's just like every time you think you're done with him once and for all, he finds a way back. Like some quarterback's going to get hurt in training camp, but Russell Wilson's like, I'm here to start 4 games for you guys.
Yeah, I could also see it going the like Jason Witten route for him as a broadcaster or personality where things go really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Russ can show us a different side of himself. Like I actually think Brady I liked a lot better as a commentator and media personality than I thought I would. Russ just seems so corny and cringy when he gets behind a mic, so I'm a little skeptical of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, can you imagine Russell Wilson saying one interesting thing on a pregame show?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing is like sometimes I'd be surprised by these guys. Like maybe he clearly must know a ton about being a quarterback, and how to read defenses and all that. But like he doesn't really talk about that. So we'll see.
He's so okay. We're on the clock here. We mentioned no Jacobs for you. Evans, JMO, Trevion Henderson, Monty, always nice in this range. What do you like?
Let's go Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, come on down. Yeah, that's the thing about it's every player who's been in the NFL for that long, who's played a premium position, they have interesting insights and stories and things inside of them. Every single one does. But Russell Wilson is so guarded and so hokey with how he shares and portrays himself that I doubt he will ever let his guard down enough to say something interesting. He's also the kind of guy that's not going to want to ruffle feathers of previous teammates, coaches, say anything bad. Like he is just not capable of saying something interesting.
Yep.
All right, we start Brees Hall, JSN, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, about to pick at 5-4. David Montgomery still here, Swift, Moore, Judkins. Who do you like?
I think we should go Montgomery here, continue to double down on the Texans bet. I have a lot of this combination. I guess thinking through it, maybe the weekly ceiling is like a little bit inversely correlated, but if the Texans offense like is really rolling, you could see them both having huge games just with like how thin the backfield is there in Houston.
Yeah, we were talking about this dynamic on the first stream because someone asked about a Jeanty Bowers 1-2 turn start. And it's just like, man, that's so much capital to spend on one team, pulling Bowers way up, yada, yada. I mean, a 5th round David Montgomery like that in a 2nd round Nico, that doesn't really bother me at all to make the team level bet.
Yeah, it usually doesn't. Like, to be honest, it only really dissuades me if I was doing something like, I don't know. I don't even know if this is possible with ADP, but like Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, and T. Higgins or something like if I'm grabbing like 3 guys in the first 5 rounds from the same team, then I'm like, okay, this is probably overdoing it. But I'm usually not too worried about that. I think really it's just the team level bet on the offense that is really, really what matters more.
Seeing, I believe, the first time I've witnessed Parker Washington in round 5, granted it's at the very end, pick 60. Where do you stand on the great wide receiver wars of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
That's a tough one. I'm kind of like all over the. I still honestly haven't solidified my opinion there. I've been taking stabs on all of them. I was originally out on Parker Washington, and then I heard JJ talk about him, I think on a show with Kitchen, just about how good his peripheral stats were down the stretch. And that was when he was competing with targets, you know, with the Brian Thomas, with the Jacoby Myers. It wasn't like all those guys were injured and he was competing with scrubs. So I think it's like, if anyone has a ton of confidence in how this Jags wide receiver room is going to shake out, I think they're lying. I am kind of spreading my bets across all of them because I really don't feel confident. If I was like forced to say like, what is my angle? I would say Brian Thomas is my favorite of the group, but I don't want to be overconfident there. I want to take some of these guys. Oh,
real quick. Yeah, Jaden Daniels, Chuba, Caleb Williams, Drake May.
Let's do Jaden. Sorry. I was too
no, you're good there. Slight slight ADP value there, but pretty clearly I think the best pick. None of the other quarterback, stack options like Stroud, Darnold, Baker, those are all later. Ramondre, the next available running back, Alec Pierce, the next available wide receiver, Kraft, the next available tight end. Like Jaden seems like the click there.
I agree. I'm taking a lot of Jaden this year. But yeah, do you have a take on the Jags wide receiver stuff? Do you have a strong lean one way or the other?
I've been very, very skeptical of Parker Washington, specifically at these prices. I think I'm neutral on BTJ, like happy to play him in that range. I do want to be overweight Hunter, in the 150s and just play the volatility there. But I'm on a slight fade on Washington at these prices.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Maybe we can make our pick and then I can talk a little bit more about that. Let's see.
Yep. Pollard, Sutton, Kraft, Jalen Warren here. What do you think?
I think put Jalen Warren in the queue. I think unless I can find something else. I'm good with Warren here. I think
Pollard like 3 times. Together.
So. I've done so much Pollard. I'm like, okay, I think he's a good pick, but I don't want to end up with like a huge bag of him. The Parker Washington thing. It's just like, for me, there's enough question marks about the other guys. Brian Thomas, obviously amazing rookie year, struggled a lot last year in the new system. Travis Hunter, obviously the uncertainty there about how much wide receiver he's even gonna play. Jacoby Myers is totally fine, but never been a guy that has truly broken out or dominated. And just seeing like what the Jags did down the stretch last year with Parker Washington as the focal point, and then also seeing like what Liam Cohen did with, I think it was 30-year-old or 29-year-old Chris Godwin in his last year there. That stretch of games that Godwin had as like the sort of big slot Z player. I think he was like a top 5 fantasy in points per game before he had that injury in 2024. I just think the system is like so exciting that to me, I ultimately came around and like the price for Washington isn't like crazy. Like he's next to guys like Alec Pierce and some rookie wide receivers. And it's like, okay, do I really want to be fading like the potential Jags #1, even if I'm not that confident about it? That's where I've come around. Like, I think I'm going to be at market with him. It's just like, it's a bit scary to fade just with how much I believe in the Jags and Liam Cohen.
Yeah. Yeah, like MT Revolt says, the severity of the P-Wash breakout a really hard bar for a 6-rounder to clear after their moves. He has talent. Yeah, and I think everybody agrees he has talent. The thing is like, you really do have to send like one of those guys to the woodshed for him to like emerge as the true wide receiver. It's like, okay, the Hunter stuff, like it is way more defense, or Jacoby Myers is just completely cooked. I think there's scenarios where he might be the best guy, but because there are so many compelling, target earners on that team, that it's hard for him to pay off that high of a cost. Speak of the devil, Solver likes Jacoby Myers here. Rico, Michael Wilson, Brock Purdy, anything you're noticing here?
Let's do LaPorta.
Yeah, let's get LaPorta here. Our first time. I think we've done LaPorta a couple times as well. I think you, obviously you're taking him over Fannin here. Talk about why you like LaPorta.
Yeah, I think, he's a guy that we really liked his talent at one point. He was the tight end 1 as a rookie. He was drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. Now, I think he was really overpriced there when it happened, but he's still a guy, very, very young, was banged up last year. I think is a lot better than what he showed in the stats last year. And again, this Lions offense, like a lot of times this late, you're just kind of betting on touchdowns at the tight end position. I think LaPorta is as good a bet as any tight end to have a 12, 14, random touchdown spike season just with how good that offense is. So, I think he's like fallen enough where he's a pretty good value here. So, and with Fannin, it's just like they added a ton of target competition in Cleveland. It's the Browns offense with Sean Watson and Shedeur Sanders. Like, to me, it's pretty easy to go LaPorta over Fannin. I know some people disagree there, but just looking at the context of those offenses, that's where I stand.
1-3-3-1. Downs and Worthy are kind of intriguing here. There's Brock Purdy, Jacoby's still here, Pittman. Anything stand out to you? Running back's kind of wiped.
Yeah, I think I go Purdy actually, and let's be done. Unless is he by week 7? No, he's not, right? Yeah. Let's do that.
No wanting to leave that. I feel like that's an interesting choice, just with Darnold, Stroud, and Baker all there to go naked Purdy.
Yeah,
we do get him.
It's a good point. Well, he's not naked. He's with Mike Evans, right?
Geez, you're right. I completely that was my bad. I was saying Baker, and I had not flipped the calendar over in my head. So I have no issue with that. For some reason, I was like, "Why are we taking naked Brock Purdy?" No, thank you for getting me back on track there.
Yeah, no, I do think it's a good point though. That if we had, the 20-second clocks are so tough. If we had more time to talk that out, there's definitely an argument for waiting at quarterback. I've just been, I don't know if you've had this experience, Pete, like when you get boxed out on all your stacks at quarterback, it just sucks. Like I had one team, I think I posted on X where I was like sniped like 20 picks ahead of ADP on all my later round quarterback stacks. And I was forced to do like a Carson Beck Tua thing or something like that at the end. It's just like, man, this team feels so dead that when I get a stacked quarterback, like close to ADP, I'm just kind of like not usually messing around with it. So
I agree, dude. My first draft, my solo draft, I was tilting my goddamn mind because I took Dak as an ADP faller unstacked. And I'm like, let me get Ferguson. Didn't happen. Next thing you know, I'm reaching for Ryan Flournoy. It's just an absolute disaster. So yes, I'm with you. Like if you get a quarterback at or near value that's stacked, or a rushing quarterback like Jaden at a nice price, it's just like scoop it up. And you know what? You can still add a third quarterback in these builds if you get a really nice value on one. So I'm with you on it.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Let's see here. I think probably wide receiver or running back. We did get the 3 wide receivers early, so I'm actually like, okay, if there's a running back we like here.
On the clock, you're looking at the 2 Vikings guys in Tyrone Tracy, wide receiver, Dobbs, Wan'Dale Robinson, Higgins, tight end, Kittle, if you want a double stack there.
Let's do Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, come on down. I was talking a little bit with Neil about that. He's a Vikings fan, and in that backfield, I mean, that one is one of the most interesting backfields, I feel like, for fantasy to figure out.
It is, yeah. And they still consistently played Jones ahead of Mason when he was healthy last year. Now, it was a split. It wasn't Jones in a workhorse role. But to me, he's still the guy that's going to have the chance to be the starter there if he can get it done. And he's just 2 seasons removed from like quite a good year. So I still like him. Let's see.
On the clock here, Shakir, Diggs, Coker would be wide receivers. There are a bunch of the tight ends, Tracy, Mason, the running backs.
I'm kind of inclined to go Mason, honestly. I'm good.
Yep.
I've been doubling up these guys. I think it's a situation where they can both pay off at cost. If one of them is like a small loss and the other returns like a 6th round value, right? I think that can be quite good. I know we are thin at wide receiver, but again, I feel good with the 3 guys we grabbed in the first, 4 or 5 rounds that we can find some guys late to round this out.
Yeah, 2-5-3-1 here. Jaden Daniels and Brock Purdy at quarterback, looking good there. Brees, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren, both Vikings running backs, solid running back crew. Have the 3 tie-end wide receivers, JSN, Nico, and Evans, and then LaPorta at tight end. Yeah, I think the only thing, knowing where we ended up here, that I might do differently is take like a Downs or Worthy instead of LaPorta, and then kind of go punt tight end with it.
I agree. Yeah, if I could swap that out, I probably would as well. But yeah, I think this sets us up. Like, if there's a running back value we really like, sure, we can take a 6, but I think we can pretty much just focus on tight end and wide receiver the rest of the way here. A couple stacked options too, like Chigakonkwo is someone that might make sense to this team. Deshaun Stribling later could make sense with San Francisco. So I think, we'll see who falls to us.
Sam, I think what I've realized is the Monday at noon Eastern is apparently the breaking news block, the insignificant breaking news block, because we now have Odell Beckham Jr. agreeing to a deal with the Giants. I literally, when I read the tweet, I thought it was going to be so he could do like a 1-day retiring as a Giant thing. But it seems like he's actually signing to play football.
It is kind of crazy. We're still talking about Odell in 2026. Like, I think the quick hit reactions to this, I do think this is probably another small ding for Neighbors. Like the fact that they are bringing in 2 more wide receivers. Yeah. Olszewski and OBJ. This is also probably a bit of a wet blanket on the Slayton, Malachi Fields, Darnell Mooney last round stabs. Like, now I think there's a chance Odell could maybe be the wide receiver 3, maybe. So it's just like messy
on
there.
The clock. Shakir's fallen a full round. Travis Hunter here as well. Wide receiver certainly makes sense.
I think Hunter for the Commanders bring back, right? That's the Jags.
Ooh, yeah.
Yep.
Good call. I'm off my week 17 game here, so we got to back into it there. Travis Hunter, I like it.
Yep. I think Shakir would make sense if he comes back around too, but we'll see.
Yeah, 2-5-4-1, like you said, like you can find interesting wide receiver names here. I mean, Jawan Jennings is, essentially a Khalil Shakir ass pick as well if we need. And then we could also, you could do the Darnold thing if you wanted the 3rd quarterback and thought Darnold at 148 with JSN was a nice value, and also could go 2nd tight end here too.
Yeah. The Darnold thing is tempting. Chig is also staring at me a little bit as a stacked tight end. Is Stroud also still on the board, or is he gone?
He went.
He's gone. Okay.
Those are the top 2 solver suggestions. Now that Jennings goes, Darnold or Chig, or you're pulling up a guy like Trey Tucker, Antonio Williams.
I think Darnold. I think one of my big lessons, going into this season is just, look, is this a team where we need a 3rd quarterback? No. But if one falls to us, past ADP is stacked with our 1st round pick in Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, you can imagine a big game in week 15 where JSN has 3 touchdowns and carries Darnold along for the ride, and he, outscores Purdy or Jaden Daniels, or one of those guys misses time in the regular season and we need Darnold to like piece together some weeks. It's just like, man, at the end of the draft, when we see like the difference between our 8th wide receiver versus like a 3rd quarterback who has guaranteed to start all season, 17 games stacked with our top pass catcher, I think we're just going to be like, yeah, the quarterback is probably just the better pick for the team.
The nice thing too is like, what are our other positions of need? Obviously, wide receiver and tight end right now. With Darnold, we know Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton, AJ Barner are all available late. And I think if Jennings or Shakir were there, or even Omar Cooper, like, yeah, let's grab another wide receiver. But it's kind of like taking what the room gives you. And I'm with you, like getting those 3 stacks there. Or we'll see what we do with Jaden. Yeah, it just looks nice.
Yeah, and Jaden, if we go Jaden solo, like, that's totally viable. And then getting the 2 stacked guys with their likely top pass catchers. I mean, certainly top pass catcher for Seattle and likely top pass catcher for Mike Evans in San Francisco. It's a very fun weekly ceiling construction.
I do have to issue the correction from the chat. It was Barrios who signed today with the Giants, not Olszewski.
Oh yeah, Olszewski tore his. I think Olszewski actually tore his Achilles or something, which is why they. You got to have one white slot wide receiver on your team at all times. I think so. It was kind of a 1-for-1 replacement there.
Yeah. Min Cash Merchant says, guy who won $1 billion with 3 QBs thinks 3 QB is a great idea. Interesting. Yeah. Where do you get your ideas? From the bank account?
Yeah. I know. I keep referencing the, like, if one quarterback gets injured, it's nice to have 3, just because that's exactly what happened with my team last year. It's maybe overreading that, but
I was kind of hoping Antonio Williams would come back, just because it'd have been a nice little correlation and upside stack. Chig goes as well. So we will most likely be rocking naked him, unless we okay, we're on the clock. Let's talk it out. You got some of the rookies, Jeremy Stribling. What do you think?
I like Stribling with the Purdy stack. Let's do it. Yep.
Get that double stack there with Purdy, Evans in Stribling. I kind of like that one too, because like we know what Evans is going to do. Like Evans is going to do Evans things, and then it's like, does Stribling challenge Pearsall to be kind of like that number 2 there in the receiving game?
Exactly. Yep. And I think so. We'll probably end up with a 3-5-7-3 there. The math works. Yeah, 3-5-7-3. I like Barner quite a bit if he comes back at that double stack. Betting on some touchdowns there in Seattle. That'd be fun. Let's see what else the room gives us, but.
Yeah, you could maybe play 2v2s with the double stack of, like, certainly a Cooper Kupp makes sense on a thin wide receiver room. So you could be like, do you like Schultz with Nico and then like Kupp later, or do you like Barner? Like you could do a Barner, like, 2v2 on a later wide receiver. We're on the clock here. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably still go Barner.
You can still triple him too. Like that's
we could triple him. It also, I've taken a lot of 18th round Cooper Kupp, so maybe that allows us to feel good about a different.
This is what you have to remind yourself when you click Cooper Kupp, where it's like you want to save your Cooper Kupp shares for when this is like the perfect scenario. It's like, we need wide receivers. We have Sam Darnold. This is the Cooper Kupp team. And so if you waste Cooper Kupp shares on I have to have him, then it starts to feel gross.
Yeah, I know. I got to remind myself of that. But this is like, it's not just the need a wide receiver and it's Seattle. It's also like, we took Hunter and Stribling. That's potential, first 6 weeks of the season, we get nothing out of that combo, right? And maybe we feel like we need the early season chaperone on this roster, but there's other varieties of that pick available later. I have no problem. Like triple stacking Darnold seems totally fine to me. Don't have a problem with it.
All right, Go Easy Cards wants you to rank your winning BBM team by importance as far as the levers that were pulled for you to win. He's going to include stacking, ADP value, week 17 correlation. If there's anything else that you want to factor in there, maybe aura just by the drafter themselves, cardio club, maybe environment. How would you rate?
Number 1, I would say, is just drafting a couple, boomer running back players to rub it in the Slappy's face when you win. Get some Derrick Henry, Ramondre on the roster. That's definitely number 1. No, seriously, I would say stacking, I think, it is number 1. I think ADP value, number 2. Obviously, like, don't reach insanely on stacks to make it happen. And then I'd say week 17 would be number 3 on that list, like a nice tiebreaker. Though my roster was like comically week 17 correlated. So, anyways, let's see. What do we got here?
It is the Cooper Cup. We also have the tight ends if you want to go that direction first, or we could just lock up Cup and then figure out.
Yeah, let's go Cup just because I don't know who else to go with right now.
Yeah. Because we know, like you said, we have 2 more picks. We're going to do a 7th wide receiver and a 3rd tight end so we can kind of talk it out. We do have the Jacksonville bring back for Washington. For San Francisco, a Philly bring back. You could like entertain Stowers again, I think, as a 3rd tight end.
Yeah. I haven't taken a lot of Stowers, but I was looking at like him or Terrence Ferguson, like a little bit more of like the upside bet at tight end, given we have LaPorta and Barner already. I think Stowers, I like Stowers. I don't see anyone else really jumping out. I like Wicks too for the same reason, but Stowers ADP is earlier, right?
Yeah. The other name I'll throw out in this cohort, if we want another wide receiver who's also a bring back and also a rookie, you could do Brazel as the Carolina bring back to Seattle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wicks is the other way to play it if you want to do that for the Eagle and then push tight end. Helm, Freiermuth, Stowers here. What do you think?
Let's do Stowers first, and then we can talk about the wide receiver. Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, LaPorta Barner's too thin for a 2 tight end room, right?
I think so. I mean, if you got pushed to some weird spot where you just had those 2, I don't think it's like criminal, but I think getting the 3rd tight end makes a lot of sense here. And we really haven't, like, I don't know. I guess I always try to balance like a mix of rookie upside players with more like stable veterans, but like the capital we have invested in the like rookies is really late. It's like Stribling in the 14th, Stowers in the 17th, Travis Hunter, if you want to put him in that bucket, because he's like, a 2nd-year player that might play cornerback. He was only taken in the 12th. So I don't think we've like over invested in rookies by any means in this team.
Yeah. So, all right, we have 1 more pick. It's definitely going to be a wide receiver. Brazel and Wicks go back to back. Where do you guys get your fucking ideas? Where do you get your ideas? There you go.
Yeah.
Frankie says, Brazel week 17 versus Seattle is gross. I guess, but those are the exact examples of like, I'm just not going to be overly precise when I'm trying to hit correlation. And if the general archetypes are what I'm looking for, a rookie wide receiver who should be seeing more playing time, who could spike, who could help speed up the game. I'm just not going to pretend like I know how that game is going to go.
Yeah, I feel similar. You want to pull up the wide receiver options for next year, Pete? I'm a little...
It's about as gross as you can get here. You're looking at Malachi Fields, Booty, Tyreek Hill, Surratt, Franklin, Horton, Pat Bryant, Keon Coleman, Christian Kirk. If you want to triple Brock, that's actually not awful.
Yeah, I was actually... The Kirk thing is not crazy to just kind of like... It gives us, one of him or Stribling is going to be a good value. Bryant was the other guy I was thinking. I've taken like no Kirk. I don't think that's terrible though.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Uninspiring pick, but I think it makes sense on this roster.
It shows you like some of the suggestions by the solver. And again, because like when you're at this point in the draft, like the projection, like any correlation boost can like wildly swing a player's value. So like just to illustrate how poor it was, like De'Ami Brown was a suggestion because of the Washington correlation boost. The solver was getting it. And even Treylon Burks was a suggestion. Those are like very scary clicks right now if they do add someone, because those guys like immediately go to like stone cold 0. And you could argue they're already pretty 0-ish.
Yeah. The Washington, if they don't add, the thing with the Washington backup wide receivers is like, I think the Ayuk thing still feels pretty live. And if that happens, it's just kind of a dead roster spot, taking stabs on any of the Burks, De'Ami guys. If that deal doesn't happen, then maybe later in August, we can get more interested in that. But for me, they paid Kirk like a little bit of money. It's kind of like on this roster, right? It's like, we know Mike Evans, we're banking on him to be the alpha, and we're just trying to get one of the wide receiver 2-3s on San Francisco. And with taking Kirk and Stribling, we have a good chance of getting one of them. So, yeah. Oh, Pete, Pete, you're muted, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I thought it was an issue with mine, and then I was like, oh, what's going on?
This is devastating because this was the best team recap delivery I have ever given, and is now lost to the sands of time. Let me try again. This is the team 3-5-7-3. I'm going to do it exactly how I just did it so you guys know how good it was. Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold at quarterback. Breece Hall, David Montgomery, Jaylen Warren, and I really emphasized both Minnesota running backs to really kind of lean in to the controversy there. I said JSN, Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Travis Hunter, and I said the man of the month to Sean Stribling, Cooper Kupp, and Christian Kirk, which, as the chat points out, are two Sam Sherman-ass picks. Sam LaPorta, AJ Barner, Eli Stowers. How did we do, Sam?
I mean, I think we completely leaned into the bit of the most Sam Sherman-ass team you could draft on the reunion of me winning Best Ball Mania. You gotta get a couple late rookie wide receivers with upside. You got to counteract that with just the most boring, disgusting veteran picks. Last year was Darnell Mooney and Adam Thielen. We get the spiritual successor to that this year in Cooper Kupp and Christian Kirk. So yeah, this was a very, Sam Sherman-ass team. And I think we did a good job landing the plane.
Yeah, naked Daniels, but we do get the Hunter bring back there. The Brock Purdy triple with the Stowers bring back is nice there to get some week 17 juice. Sam Darnold, no bring back there, but we have made a large bet on Seattle with this one. And I do think the capital spent at each position is very solid. There's high end upside at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end there. Obviously, people could quibble with, the Breece and Montgomery and Sam LaPorta, but we know in the higher range of their outcomes that they can, produce as elite fantasy assets. So I like how this shook out.
Yeah, I like this team a lot. I think that, obviously the Christian Kirk pick, if a Wicks or someone like that had fallen there, it could have been more fun, but can't quibble too much with the 18th round. All these guys are gonna bust anyway, so it probably does not matter.
Yeah, I guess the only other last thing to expand on that there was some reaction in the chat. The Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, less about the players themselves because whatever, but more so about that idea of trying to hit a home run with 2 picks. I think anyone, if you added one in the 17th or 18th round, I don't think anyone even blinks at that. I think there was a question of what would be the most expensive backfield you would pair? Would you do a Chuba Jonathon Brooks? Would you do a Warren Rico? Where is that line for you?
I am definitely more open to 2 running backs in the same team than most drafters. I have done a Warren Rico. Now that one, I think I would want in a half round, full round ADP value on one of them to do that. I'm probably not taking those guys at value the way we did with the Vikings here. But overall, with these ambiguous running back situations, when both players are quite cheap, what you need to have success in those picks is honestly not much. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, both at pick 120. If again, one of them just ends up being the starting running back and is a useful, contributes points to our roster player, and then the other one has 1 or 2 spike weeks if the starter misses time. That's not that crazy of a situation to happen, and those guys can pay off. The other thing, with this specific backfield that I've kept in mind with the Vikings is last year, same exact running back room. It was Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. It was JJ McCarthy at quarterback, and we were drafting Aaron Jones in the 60s, 70s, and drafting Jordan Mason in the 70s, 80s. Now all that's changed is we have Kyler at quarterback. I think everyone, even if people are in love with Kyler, expect that he's going to be way better than JJ McCarthy. And we get both these guys at pick 125. And I'm just really not buying, maybe, people can clip this and, Damon Claiborne's going to be rookie of the year or whatever. And I'll be super wrong about this.
That'll be good for the show. I need more help clipping.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please clip this. Damon Claiborne, 185-pound, scat back. I think he's drafted for special team reasons and some gimmick, Brashard Smith, maybe style touches on offense. I don't think there's any chance he's carving out a meaningful role in year one. It would be a huge shocker to me. So I feel pretty good about these top 2 guys in the Vikings backfield.
Yeah, and I think the other out you have is like all of these guys have contingent upside. If there's an injury, I think everybody knows that. But it's, can you get enough standalone value from a backfield that is condensed? So like in your hypothetical, like Claiborne just red shirts this year. And like, yeah, there is room for both of these guys to touch the ball. Aaron Jones is catching the ball, giving you some explosive plays. Jordan Mason is hoovering up all the touchdowns. Like they can pay off their cost if it is a really condensed two-way backfield in a solid offense. Like that's very attainable at these prices.
Yep.
But everyone's just skeptical because it's like we've lived so many lives with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason that it doesn't feel fun knowing like, are we going to draft either of these guys in the top 5 rounds next year, even if one breaks out? Like, no, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. But this was kind of like, just with the crop of rookie running backs we got this year in the draft, this was kind of bound to happen with some backfields. It kind of happened in the Commanders backfield too, right? Similar situation. We expect the Commanders to be a pretty good offense. We're drafting Jaden Daniels pretty high. I imagine their win total is fairly high, and you can get the running back 1 and 2 at pick 115 and 130 or whatever, right? It's just like there's a bit of a vacuum in talent at the running back position with how weak the draft class was this year. So, sometimes these situations just happen and it's going to be a 1-year blip. They'll probably sign someone or draft someone next year, but we can still take advantage of their value this year, even if we don't see them having like long-term, whatever, dynasty value in fantasy. It just doesn't really matter for best ball.
Yep. Let's see here. Any other thoughts on how this draft went? Any other angles you're trying to exploit? You did mention before the show that you've been kind of firming up some of your late round targets. Who were some of those guys that we weren't able to get today?
Yeah, Sean Tucker is one of them that I think like every fantasy analyst seems to be in on Sean Tucker this year. He's risen up actually quite a bit, but I really like the combination of standalone value, him having over 50% of the inside the 5 rush attempts last year. He was kind of their dedicated goal line back. So he has that standalone value plus the contingency if something were to happen to Gainwell or to Bucky Irving. There's been the weirdness of the Bucky Irving already. So I like him quite a bit. Other guys I like quite a bit. I'll mention both of the Dolphins super late round pass catchers, Chris Bell and Greg Dulcich. It's really insane, Pete, looking at, if you just like search Dolphins on the, ADP bar, right?
Yeah.
Their first pass catcher comes off the board at pick 193, and it's a rookie 3rd round wide receiver coming off a late season ACL tear. So it's just such a wide open wide receiver room. I also think it's an offense that towards the end of the season is going to want to see what they have in their rookie pass catchers. So I think there's like very clear path. Chris Bell, his injury recovery timeline should have him, returning to play early season. I think it's going to be a slow start because he's not going to be there for training camp, learning the playbook. But towards the end of the season, I do think like, what are the incentives for the Dolphins? It's going to be, let's throw out our young pass catchers out there and see what talent they have. The guys in front of them are Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, Malik Washington. Like it's such clear runway that even if he's not good, I think he's going to get a chance. I think you can't quite say that about some of the other rookies. Like I know Ted Hurst, as a counterexample, he's a guy who's already risen quite a bit. I get the appeal and the excitement for him, but for him to matter, he has to earn playing time over Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and Emeka Egbuka. Like that's a much steeper path to playing time in the end of the season than Chris Bell over Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, Malik Washington. So he's a guy I've gotten excited about. And then Dulcich, similar rationale, but tight end eligibility. He's another guy I like.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We were, Neil and I were talking about Malik Willis before we did, or Dulcich. We did Malik Willis. And then again, you're looking for that stack, and he's just such a cheap, easy way to play that. I do think that's going to be the theme of the summer or late summer, as far as we're all skeptical of this rookie class in general, but some of them are going to emerge as like pretty strong candidates. And it'll be interesting to see how much do we react to it. In previous years, we're like quick to push up some of these rookies, or is the skepticism going to keep some of the prices in check to where it's like they don't move up arguably enough, which allows you to load up on them? Yeah, exactly. And it takes a lot. I think like
for these guys to move up consistently. I'm trying to think of examples in the past, like Puka Nacua, I guess as an example. He kind of got consistent steam throughout the offseason when he was a rookie. And he moved up from like not being drafted to being in the 18th round mix, but he didn't move up a ton. Just, I guess, just to make the point that, like, I think at pass catcher, it's different at running back, right? If someone gets injured or it's obvious the running back is going to have a role, he can really shoot up the board. With wide receivers, there's a lot of like momentum or friction against them really shooting up draft boards typically. So I do kind of expect that like most of these guys aren't going to move up too much throughout the summer. So we'll see. It's really like a huge crop of second, third round rookie wide receivers that you're going to have to choose from in the final rounds of drafts this year.
Did you mention MarShawn Lloyd? Have we talked about him yet?
Oh yeah. I mentioned him on my show with Pat as one of my favorite late round players as well. And then literally 5 minutes after I monologued about him, there was like a Rotoworld report that he missed practice again. So, what do you think about him? I can repeat my take that I had in Pat's stream, but curious, what are your thoughts on him as like, he's what, 17th, 18th round pick right now? Yeah. Are you mixing him in?
I was mad at myself because I was down a Dallas Cowboys tilt rabbit hole. And so I memed Jaden Blue in the last round and fucking MarShawn Lloyd was still there. And I regret that one. But yeah, like thinking through that concept of like how prices could move, like Sean Tucker, if the Bucky stuff comes out as, explicitly bad, same thing for the Josh Jacobs situation. Like those guys are such massive ADP risers. Like those could be like 10th round picks in certain news based scenarios. So to me, like I love the logic of that, of like, you're probably still getting some contingent upside and like non-zero risk in the 18th, but the risk for, the opportunity for CLV is so massive that I do really want to start prioritizing Sean Tucker and MarShawn Lloyd late. Yeah,
I'm with you. I get it's like the ultimate like Felford again award or whatever you want to call it with MarShawn Lloyd, where we've bought into him so many times. He's let us down so many times. But I shared this on Pat's stream. I'll share it here again. I thought this was interesting from Coach Speak Index, where the head coach, LaFleur, and the GM were asked about the backup running backs because of the Jacob situation. And this is what LaFleur said on Lloyd. He said he's extremely explosive. He's a dual threat guy, a guy that you can design routes for. And then on Chris Brooks, when asked about him, said, Chris is one of those guys that fills a lot of roles for us whenever we need him, whether it's on offense or special teams. Sometimes we use him as more of a tight end. So again, when they're talking about Lloyd, they're kind of mentioning fantasy friendly skill set, can run routes, can do a bit of everything. Lloyd is Brooks, on the other hand, is honestly more of like a blocking type, special team, utility guy, fullback. I really think if you're going to bet on one of the running backs here, it should be Lloyd. Does it have zero risk? Sure. But I think, as you said, the upside, I think, is still there with him.
All right, Sam, appreciate you as always. I mean, what a lovely anniversary we just had together. Do you feel special? Do you feel like it was commemorated accordingly?
I think it was really the Cooper Cup pick that really sealed the deal for me. So, yeah, thanks Pete for having me on. This is a fun team, and I'll celebrate the rest of my anniversary by moving some boxes around on slides, maybe opening Excel. Should be a fun time.
Just all the things you do. Yeah, let the people know what else you got this week. Do we have another That's Fair with Kerrane?
We're actually off this week, some scheduling conflict, but that will be a weekly show throughout the summer. Not this week, but returning the following week every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And then again, obviously here with you every week, Pete. So
Beautiful.
Thanks again.
And obviously follow him on Twitter. I can't say at Sam Sherman. It's like there's an underscore in there. It's not as easy as I want it to be. What is it again off the rip here?
It's Sherman _FFB. It's a really kind of embarrassing Twitter handle, but Sam Sherman was taken at the time. I'll talk to Elon. Maybe I can get that changed. But yeah, Sherman _FFB. You can follow me there.
That's right. All right, just drop that in the chat. Sam and I will be back, of course, next Monday, noon Eastern, to break down the Giants signing some more dusty wide receivers. I'm sure we are going to have Pat Kerrane joining here in a few minutes, but we will allow Sam to head back to his very important day job here.
Yep. All right. See you, Pete. See you next week.
Peace, Sam. All right, guys. One more draft to do here with Kerrane. And then we will be heading over to the So You Think You Can Tout YouTube channel. I just posted a little teaser on Twitter, and my God, shout out to my guy, Chris Marino, with this thumb here. Just absolutely perfect. For the audio listeners, you truly need to come to the screen just to see this here. Adam Levitan and Silva in full Judge regalia. And then, I would say maybe two ominous prisoners behind them. What could that mean? What could that mean? Who knows? Maybe you'll have to tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern to figure out why two of our contestants might be in jumpsuits here. The title, 8 duos, 2 legends, of course, Silva and Levitan, in one act of betrayal. Can't wait for you guys to see this episode. The production team has been working very hard, as usual, on this. 85 minutes of edited, produced content coming from all different spots. We have confessionals, we have bonus stuff, we have content with Silva and Levitan, and then the submissions themselves. 8 duos submitted 4-minute videos for us with a theme of fantasy football stacks. That is the theme. And then they faced the wrath of Silva and Levitan. They did not know that Silva and Levitan would be their judges when they submitted. So it's going to be a very fun episode. We're going to be moving and shaking. I'm not going to tell you quite now how many people are going home and how many are staying, but a lot is going to happen in this episode. And I did figure out tonight we will have a reaction show for So You Think You Can Tout. I think I'll make it public for everyone. I'll probably gate the chat to YouTube members there. So if you want a little extra bonus there, but Mike Zakarian's going to be joining me. We're going to be launching the after show about the tout. So going forward after these shows, we will have a separate YouTube feed for these. But tonight, because we weren't able to get the channel set up for streaming on short notice, it will be on my channel. That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern. We will have Mike Zakarian hosting. I'll join him for a little bit. We will also have some exit interviews with some of these contestants who are going home. So big day on tap. This is going to air just a little over an hour at 2 p.m. Eastern. This episode is dropping. Miles is saying PPR Tyler 30 to life. There you go. Could he do another betrayal after the BBG? Does he have another one in him? Joe King is hyped for this live vote. All I will say is this: there is going to be an audience voting element at the end of the show, but it is not live. It is not live. No live votes scheduled for today, but we will continue to include you guys in making these decisions for us, especially in the fringe cases where we need your help. Because as always with these challenges, we have people who crush it. We have people who bomb. Those are pretty easy decisions for us. But then we have some stuff in the middle that's hard for us to decipher, and that's where you guys come into play. Which So You Think You Can Tout finalists will be sold for a jug of Toilet Wine and a pack of Newports? That's right. Yeah, the price is pretty low here. The price is pretty low. All right, let's see here. Yes, thank you, my producer, Mark, reminding me for the Kerrane intro. I was absolutely going to forget. Thank you, Mark. We need to continue to work together. One of these days I will naturally remember, but I do not. Let's see. Do we have a Myles Garrett trade? Did I miss some news here, or is that just the chat here trying to get my goat? Let's see here. Flyfish says Levitan judging Pete's Virgin Circus poetic. Flyfish, I can't think of anything more virgin than your anonymous ass constantly being an unfunny troll in the chat. Please send in a video of yourself so we can make fun of your virgin ass, sir. Let's see here. Zane says, I'd buy PPR Tyler in jail for a pack of Mr. Noodles and menthol cigarette. Incredible. Yes. Thank you, Disbanded Brotherhood. Actually, he solved it. It's Rashi Rice and Josh Jacobs behind them. He's got it. Nick thinks a Garrett Wilson trade is live for Eagles after AJB. Whoo! That would be fun for the Omar Cooper stuff. That would be very fun. Okay, Sando giving us the update here. Per Shefty, teams are calling him saying the Browns are going to trade him. Gotcha. Monken definitely alluded to a Garrett trade. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, he's been so unhappy. He clearly wants to be on a more competitive team. Oh, Myles Garrett. Geez, you have me, spitting around. I was like, yeah, Garrett Wilson. I was like, holy cow. All right. It is time now to bring in our cleanup hitter on Best Ball Breakfast, a man who doesn't need an introduction, but has one. In fact, it's one I often forget to play. Scuba Kerrane, Patty Millions, Peacock Pat Kerrane on the ones and twos.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
98 yards to the fucking house against Carolina in week 10.
All right, Pat. The chat's throwing me for a loop. We were talking about Myles Garrett trade rumors, and then someone said Garrett trade rumors, and I thought we were talking Garrett Wilson. And so head is spinning today. We have had some movement with the Giants. Odell Beckham. You got any takes on that?
Yeah, it is funny that like we knew a big wide receiver name was gonna move today, and it's Odell Beckham signing with the Giants so far. So yeah, it's I don't know. I don't think gonna make any big moves on that, but.
But I guess like the most interesting thing, you sign Barrios, you sign Odell Beckham. Is that kind of concerning for Neighbors? I mean, is Neighbors a lock to open on pup at this point?
It's feeling more and more like that, right? Yeah. I don't think it's just a continuation of the same story they've been telling for a while, which is why I don't think Neighbors has been a very good pick.
Yeah.
When he falls into the third, okay, but or like the mid third, I mean, but yeah, in that, I mean, he started early second, I think.
Yeah.
We're just kind of slowly catching on to the reality that he's going to miss time to start the year, most likely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he already is falling into the mid third. I guess the question is like, should it, your gun to your head, like, do you prefer Tetairoa or Zay Flowers to Neighbors, or is Neighbors still worth the risk there?
I still prefer Neighbors, but yeah, I mean, that's more it's funny. Rice kind of goes right next to him now, which I think shows you a little bit of the same, profile. It's like, hey, there's some risk here, but the upside's pretty big too, for different reasons, for slightly different reasons, I guess. It is somewhat knee related for both.
As far as you got the Rice, you got the Neighbors, you got the Josh Jacobs, the Bucky, I would say those are the biggest like top 50 picks who have seen value changes. Any other like significant rankings movement for you guys at Leg Up?
We're mostly tweaking stuff. There's like, we're getting in arguments about fairly minor things currently. I'm expecting some bigger shakeups, I mean, the Kamara one is the other thing. Like they keep posturing to have him take a pay cut, and there was a report they could save $14 million by cutting him, which actually like makes a note. They only owe him $11.5 million more in cash. Like there's not $14 million to be had. So I don't know what that report was, but it's the type of report that might come out there if they're just going to move on. Yeah. So that one, I mean, it's not a huge impact but obviously Kamara would become pretty undraftable. And then maybe one of these other guys would actually be an interesting dart throw.
Yeah, we were talking to Sam just before you came on of like late round targets as far as MarShawn Lloyd, Sean Tucker. I guess the Sean Tucker thing's a little more clean than MarShawn Lloyd, but are those guys on your radar?
I think Sean Tucker, yeah, it's a pretty clean bet. I talked to Sam last week about that. We picked out some late round dart throws we both liked, and he picked Tucker, but Tucker's been a guy that I've been drafting a good amount of. I think, you get some touchdown equity and the potential for him to carve out a decent role over the course of the season, maybe. I mean, and probably more contingent value. But the thing I'd like about Tucker is I think he's good, right? You get down there and you're like, I honestly have no idea if this guy's good, or I'm pretty sure he's not good, is most of the other options.
It is one of those things where it's like there are very few players in the running back in the player pool, much less that late in the player pool, who have like 30+ point fantasy games on their resume,
Right.
that have like gotten the opportunity and absolutely smashed with it. Like that has to mean something.
It has to mean something. Just
Nick wants to know, assuming this after 4 p.m., we finally get the AJB thing. How high is Pat about to raise May? At first, I thought it just says how high is Pat, which is often a question that's asked as well. But he means how high will you raise May at 4:01?
Me high versus me at 10 in the morning. On a Monday can sometimes seem similar. But no, I think we have been assuming that AJ Brown would be a Patriot as like that is like the most likely outcome for a long time. Like, because it's not a guarantee, but it's been like, I'm pretty sure before the draft, we had him as a Patriot. Like if you're drafting with a sidekick. So obviously that's not a guarantee, but I don't anticipate us making like gigantic moves. There are a couple moves that I'm eyeing once we know for a fact, right, that AJ Brown is on the Patriots, because it's not a guarantee. Like there could be another team that swoops in with a better offer, and they were just like leveraging the Patriots this whole time. So I think it changes things a little, but most of that's already been baked in.
Frankie wants to know, are you getting outed here? How did it feel taking Parker Washington at 109 in a dynasty rookie draft on the weekend? Is that a true thing?
It felt
or is that
bad.
Slanderous?
No, it felt bad because I timed out is what happened.
Oh, no. Is this an FFPC?
It's a DFWC. So, yeah.
Jeez. Oh,
and
no.
the rookie draft is like the way those works is they're like orphan teams, and they got to sort the orphans out. So then they're like, all right, the draft's starting. And it's while I'm away for the weekend. So, I woke up Sunday morning and was like, I bet I went on the clock last night and never thought to check. And that is in fact what happened. So I took Parker Washington to the 109. It's the right, if you're going to time out at the 109, this is the right year to do it. It's also a 1 quarterback league, non-tight end premium. So the pain is a little softened by that.
All right, there you go. You're coping through the timeout there. Who would have been the pick if you were?
I think Sadiq was on the board, which would have been a lot more fun. Omar Cooper went just after that, so there were guys I definitely would have taken over Washington. But yeah.
All right, we are going to draft here. We got the 110 today, which I enjoy because I don't have a ton of drafts from this back half so far. This is my Best Ball Mania draft number 41 here. Pat, how do you feel about these late slots?
I like the late slots if I can get Jeanty, Jefferson. Those guys are really fun. CD sometimes falls. Where are we? 110? Yeah,
110.
I like 110.
Yep.
110's you're gonna like your first pick at 110, and then sometimes you're really gonna like your second pick, right? 202.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with Neil and I did a draft at 11. Levitan was out, and we took Jefferson at 10. Or sorry, it was at 11, and then Cook fell back because the turn did like pulled up Hampton and Bowers.
Yeah,
or something.
It's great.
And so then you get a Jefferson Cook start, and you're like, yeah, that feels good.
Right. Yeah, you're the first in line. Well, I guess you're second in line, but if these two guys do something weird, it's pretty fun.
Yep. And that, we were talking about that too. People were asking about, pulling guys up, getting unique, yada, yada. Like, to me, the more fun thing is to capitalize on the ADP faller when someone else wants to get weird than having to be the one to get weird.
It's nice. Yeah. It's nice to get weird at a discount. I'm really into that.
Yes. Wow, Parker says accidentally got in this draft, so pulled up the stream. How did you accidentally get in this draft? Did someone? I believe you had a decision to get in the draft, and you're not watching Best Ball Breakfast. So many questions here for Parker. Let's see, Pat. We are going to have the wide receiver options here at 110. Amon-Ra, CD, Jefferson, Cook, Barkley. What do you think?
One of these receivers is very much the way I want to go here. I sometimes will go to Jefferson here and kind of build more of a stand than ADP would have it. But I'm happy with CD too.
Okay, let's do CD. We did a Jefferson team with Neil. We can do a CD Lamb team here, and then it feels pretty comfy because you're going to get a running back you like in this range. Yeah,
so we can get Achane here which I'd be definitely into. Hampton, Walker, any of those running backs, I'm happy.
Yeah, let's do we can do Achan. We can play Top Kick Mondays here. Devon, Achan, CeeDee Lamb. I'm so skeptical of the Hampton stuff. I do like Walker. I like Henry. I think Walker's the only other one that I would do over Achan though.
Yeah, Achan's tough because God, that offense, I'm seeing the offense right now, and it's so brutal. It's like Sunday, 1:00. You're picking all the games. You got the DirecTV. You got the red zone going, and then I don't know if anyone has the YouTube TV package where they pre-assign little buckets of 4 games, and you're going through, and it's the Dolphins Jets game is just one of those. And you just can't get to a 4 box that doesn't have it.
Yes.
It's this. I can't have this in one of the 4 spots.
It's honestly why I kind of like taking Malik Willis with Achan, because I'm if this works out, Willis has to be at worst competent and probably surprisingly good.
Yeah. Yeah. Although even if Willis is such a specialized kind of skill set type of dude where it's he could be doing some interesting things, but it could be very Tim Tebow-y, where it's he kind of puts the team on his back from the 12-yard line and punches in a touchdown and they win 13-7. Some offense just kind of craps the bed against a pretty bad Dolphins defense. I don't know. I think about all that stuff with the Dolphins, and it makes me wary of Achan. But at the same time, you're getting him in the early second, and you're you have a 3-down running back, super explosive, awesome in the pass game. It's just hard to, I don't know. We have all the downside baked in basically, and he's still popping as a pretty damn good pick. So at least I think we do.
I'm going to take JJFC's word for this, that this is true. He says, Ayuk just trimmed his Instagram following from 40 accounts to 3. His wife, Jaden Daniels, in the Washington Commanders. If that is true, that seems about as much of a smoking gun you could get for a free agent as possible.
Well, he's not a free agent, right?
Or true. You're right. Interesting. Very interesting.
That might be him, just praying.
Wish casting.
Yeah, he's wish casting. Yeah, if he was a free agent, it'd be different. Yeah,
that is true. He still is beholden to the Niners' decisions. All right, we have Achan and Lamb. We are now on the clock. Could go double Cowboys with Javonte, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Scatterbo.
I'm down to go double Cowboy if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. Don't have a ton of Javonte, but I don't mind if we're going to go in on this Dallas thing here and play their top running back, top wide receiver. Allen finally comes off the board at the 3-4 turn, and it looks like Tetairoa, Jacobs, Scatterbo. I mean, this is kind of the interesting spot now. Are you buying this dip on Jacobs or letting him fall further?
I had a chance to get him at the 3-12, and I didn't take him last night.
Well, you got the chance now. What do you think?
I'd rather go Tetairoa, even though Jacobs did flip him there at the end. But you can tell it's a very close one. Tetairoa is popping as the top guy. One dude goes off. Things change slightly. Jacobs flips him. Either way, I think is a solid option. It's going to be for Jacobs. I do think it's going to come down to a little bit of, your personal risk tolerance on a player like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was talking about it with Sam, where it's just what you're really saying is okay, the news goes away, everything's fine. And all of a sudden, Josh Jacobs is an early 3rd round pick and you get a round and a half of CLV. Is that worth, taking on the risk of what could be a true 0 type of pick in the late 3rd or early 4th? Does it actually outweigh that?
Yeah. And he hasn't fallen that much. So he pops here as he was may have been the best pick, probably was the best pick for us there over Tetairoa when it was all said and done. But it's not it was by a mile,
Right.
You saw McMillan was ahead of him just before. So I think for me, I'd kind of I like discounts on this type of stuff. And you're getting a discount where he's like, now it's not, but it feels like maybe the market's kind of pricing this somewhat correctly, which is never my favorite thing. I would want him, if he was falling more to like the late fourth, then I think I would be like, you know what, this is a pretty big discount on, a guy who's going in the late second before. Let me make sure I get some here. But right now I'm kind of like, I could mix him in, but maybe there's another development that gets people really scared, and that's when I start drafting.
Yeah, and the other thing about it too is there are rooms now where he's sliding a ton. MT Revolt seen him at 411. Nick just got him at 410. So to me, that is like, hey, break ties away from him, even if you think he's a fair value early fourth, because you might even get way better prices.
That is in the back of my mind, yeah. And yeah, at 410, I'm gonna start taking him, because that's like, maybe when he gets that late, you're like, maybe this is the cheapest he ever gets. It could break the other way where this stuff, they're like, yeah, we're not gonna pursue charges here or whatever, and he doesn't even get suspended. That's possible. So
yeah. Yep. All right, we're gonna pick at 5'10". We have HN and Javonte, CD and Tetairoa. Another guy who's falling in drafts, Bucky Irving, ADP of 51, still on the board here. We'll see if this guy takes him as his fourth running back or not. He does not. So still on the board and falling. Lamar does go. So we are looking at a trio of running backs, potentially Bucky, Tootin, and Jadarian Price.
Yeah. I got Bucky late fifth yesterday. I got him on a 3 wide receiver plus, I think, Bowers start. And then you get Bucky in the middle of the fifth. I'm like, this feels fun. This is, maybe there's different builds available if Bucky's available at the 506, pretty regularly.
And he does.
510 here.
Jumps them. Yeah.
I think we take Bucky, man.
Yeah. Let's do it. Bucky at pick 58. If Bucky had gone, Price is kind of fun because you get him and Tetairoa in that week 17 game.
Right.
But once he's off the board, yeah, man, Bucky at 58. Let's do it.
100%.
At 6'3" here, top kick suggestions, Tyson, Lemon, Jaden Daniels here. Looks like we're going to be headed wide receiver.
I love going Tyson here. This is what I like, sidekick or no, I would be saying, let's take Jordan Tyson. I'm happy the kick agrees. Tyson, I have more Tate than Tyson, but, I think I've been working on this wide receiver article that I'll have out probably Wednesday morning. And it is like, I would say the Tate Tyson group, almost threw Lemon in there, but he's almost his own thing because he goes in the early 7th more. It's like those guys I do think are somewhat risky, just looking back at like the previous rookie wide receiver prices. But they're back at a point where we're leaving ourselves like plenty of room to the upside compared to like the way we price Neighbors and Harrison. Right? Like it's just a huge difference. Even McMillan last year was more like 3-4 turn.
Yeah.
And you're getting these guys 5-6 turn. And like Tyson was also the 8th overall pick and Tate was the 4th overall pick.
Yeah.
I like McMillan the most of those three, but man, I think we maybe got like a little hot on the rookie wide receiver pricing at the top, but we've cooled off this year. Like objectively, like the number one wide receiver just cost less. Travis Hunter was going ahead of both these guys last year. So I do think, there's significant downside with both guys, especially compared to the way we used to think about rookies, or they're just like home runs often. But I think both guys have a lot of room to the upside, and Tyson's the one I'm getting a little less of because I prefer Tate. But when I get a chance to take Tyson in the early 6th, I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, and like I know he's going slightly ahead of Marvin Harrison and Brian Thomas Jr. in ADP, but like even having those guys close, it's like give me the rookie year Jordan Tyson, the prospect profile, the chance to be a 2nd round pick next year, than just doubling, tripling down on these guys who we loved as prospects who have just not shown themselves to be as good as we wanted them to be in the NFL.
Yep.
Breaking news. The trade really did go down. Not the
Oh my
AJ Brown
God.
trade, but Myles Garrett is going to the Rams. Wow.
That's crazy.
What a day.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Why did they spend their first round pick on Ty Simpson? They're so
Dude.
all in. Like, what are you doing?
So, I mean, God, couldn't they have gotten? I mean, they were the other team mentioned for AJ Brown too. Like, could they have done that first round pick to get AJ Brown and trade for Myles Garrett and just go all in here?
What's the compensation?
I know. I'm looking for that. I haven't seen anything yet. The Browns were adamant about not trading Myles Garrett, according to Ian Rappaport, but the Rams were persistent, calling when they included Jared.
Oh my God, they're going to
send the picks. It was in.
Wow, dude.
Jared Verse and a 27 first.
Why didn't they draft someone who would help them this year?
Sean McVay at Stafford definitely playing as if they are not going to be.
Yeah.
Couple of years.
It's wild. Garrett's 30, turns 31 in December, so it's not like he's 33 or something, but man. Verse is good, dude. Verse is really good.
That is crazy.
All right, it's not Myles Garrett, but like that's significant.
All right, we'll make these picks.
25.
We'll continue to break down the trade here. Jared Verse headed to the Browns in exchange for Myles Garrett per sources. I haven't officially seen the first round compensation, but we'll keep an eye out for it. On the clock here, we could do Dak with the Cowboys or grab RJ Harvey here. What do you think?
If you want to lock up the stack, I'm happy to do Dak.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's lock it up.
I figured you might want to do that. I'm down for that. Javonte feels better once you make it part of the double, you know?
Yes, it honestly does, because it's just like, all right, Cowboys cook, and Javonte holds on to that job and scores 13 touchdowns.
Yep.
Yeah, Peter says Verse is really good and really young. That's a big price.
Yeah, dude. Verse is really good and really young. Peter's right. He's 25.
All right, back on the clock here. Death taxes and Mahomes being suggested here. Monungai, Chris Godwin for another Bucky teammate.
Yeah, I mean, I would just take Mahomes.
God, I do this every time with you. Every time. And then we always miss out on Kelsey and Worthy.
Yeah, but we have Dak stacked with CD and Javonte. Like, it's fine, you know? I don't know, man. Like the Mahomes price does seem. Maybe I've just been podding with Davis for too long, but
you have.
Holy
we
crap.
all have.
Yeah. You're like, you have. That's unrelated.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, at some point it has to move up, right? It doesn't really make sense to me. He's going here.
No, but can two things be true? Can he be slightly undervalued in a vacuum? And also knowing, like, the dynamic we were talking about on ship chasing when we did a draft on Wednesday, and we were in a similar spot on this far side of the board, is that the ADPs of Worthy and Kelsey don't line up nicely. They have to slip past ADP for you to get them. So most scenarios, like the most likely scenario is naked Patrick Mahomes when you make that click. And I do wonder if that would lower his attractiveness in the sidekick, in the just overall drafting landscape.
Well, I mean, we have that in there. We have his ADPs. We have the ADPs of the other guys in there. So
but if I told you every time, like, this is going to be naked Mahomes, like, how many times do you still?
If you told me, yeah, basically, I think the Sims are basically like, this might be naked Mahomes, and we like that. If it's not naked Mahomes, we love it. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, because it's like there's a good chance when you take Mahomes at this pick that it is naked Mahomes. But we have Dak, Javonte, and CD. So
yeah.
You know, there's a pretty clear like stack that could take this down for us, but also like the opportunity cost is low. We're talking about Chris Godwin, Kyle Monungai, you know, and it's like actually this is a great spot to take a quarterback. You don't really have a receiver or a running back that's popping right now, so why not just take the guy who really helps your team from a positional standpoint, and you might be able to backstab him. It's not a lost cause. So that's kind of what's happening.
I look at the context of our team and I'm like, all right, Malik Willis with Achane. You still have Shuck with Tyson. Like, do you just grab a guy like Godwin, pair him with Bucky? Do you grab another wide receiver, give yourself the other stacking out there and play?
Yeah, you could do it that way. You could do it that way.
For sure. I mean, and that's it's fun talking through the the vibes based versus the kick suggestion. It's just this spot happens so many times over and over again that I do think it's worth putting under a microscope.
You sometimes don't know like which ones are going to be the ones where you get the stack, like I've gotten both Worthy and Kelsey way past ADP with Mahomes as well. So it's not there. We are in a range too, where like the ADP is like a little looser. There goes Worthy, a little looser compared to, earlier. So it's not hopeless. And
no, it's not that I even think it's hopeless or like the team's dead. I certainly don't think that. I just think through like even on ship chasing on Wednesday, you end up with 2 quarterbacks and one of them isn't stacked. It just like starts to narrow your path to like unique elements through the pod gauntlet. Kyle Pitts for a week 17 bring back. There's some wide receivers here. Dobbs, Concepcion, Pittman. What do you think?
I'd be fine with Pitts. I mean, it wouldn't prevent us from taking Kelsey if he comes back. And yeah. I think we probably go, I think to the suggestion here is probably going to be not Kelsey, push Kelsey, and then hope to get Kelsey coming back, which we probably won't. So we probably will end up with naked Mahomes, to your point. I
agree with the kick here that one of these wide receivers feels like the priority at 111.
Yeah, me too. I like Concepcion a lot.
Yeah.
Pittman's fun too. I mean, from not fun exactly, but you've got Tyson. I think Pittman fits the room. I'd probably go
good either way
just to have more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's a little easier. I guess you could say there's arbitrage versions of both later. Like Omar Cooper would be the arbitrage, Casey Concepcion, a Jawan Jennings, a Diggs potentially for the Pittman pick.
Yeah. There's arbitrage of both for sure. Both I think are pretty good picks there.
Here's the squad so far. I know some people are rolling in after this trade. Unfortunately, we are not able to draft Myles Garrett or Jared Verse in Best Ball Mania. Do you think is there any team level offensive fantasy implications from this, or is this just completely real NFL based?
I don't really see any. I mean, the Rams are done, I guess. They're not adding anything. But this is the Rams. So, any concerns about like I would say this probably makes them, whatever chance you had them to like sign a Deebo Samuel or something, I would say this reduces that, wouldn't you think? Salary cap. I guess I don't know exactly that salary cap ramifications, but Garrett was getting paid a lot. So
maybe they could sell a Deebo or Keenan on just taking just a super cheap contract to go ring chasing.
Super cheap. Yeah. I guess I could see that. Yeah. That's a good point.
But
so even from that perspective, it's maybe not actionable.
I don't know, man. Like just thinking about it, the Ty Simpson move, this move with Verse, it seems like such marginal actual upgrades to your on-field product with really premium assets.
Yeah. And again, you had the chance to spend was a 13th overall pick, right? On not like a backup quarterback. I mean,
they could have taken Lemon, which was a popular mock draft.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. You could have taken an edge and maybe not felt like you needed to trade for Myles Garrett. I mean, I know a Myles Garrett's different than a rookie edge, but like, I don't know. Seems like I mean, you could have drafted someone in the secondary and then traded for Myles Garrett and had an even better defense. Whatever you want to do.
Here we go. This is the team so far. We got a 2-3-4-1 as we head to the end of the 11th. We got Dak and Mahomes. We have Achane, Javonte, and Bucky at running back. We have CeeDee, Tetairoa, and then the 2 rookies, Tyson and Concepcion at wide receiver, Kyle Pitts at tight end, and Travis Kelce lingering, falling. No.
Oh, he goes.
There you go.
You knew from the start we were doing unstacked Mahomes.
I mean, I knew. That's why I was gonna try to push back, but sometimes you just gotta go top kick Mondays.
I mean, if Mahomes smashes and then Dak is the guy you need in the playoffs, this team's.
I think if that happens, you and all the sidekick users are going to be fighting and sharing millions of dollars. Shakir or Diggs, man,
for sure.
I don't know if I'm just pilled on Diggs to KC, but I kind of want to just take Diggs.
Really? I think Shakir here is so nice.
You like Shakir over Diggs?
Yes, they're both slots, and I know Shakir's on the Bills.
I mean, you agree that Diggs is going to sign somewhere and play football, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do. But I think Shakir's like arguably the best wide receiver on the Bills. So.
That I agree with, but I just think that I believe that Diggs is going to score more fantasy points on a per game basis than Khalil Shakir next year.
I wouldn't rule it out. How many games?
Well, I just said per game basis.
Yeah, I know you said per game. That's an important thing to consider, though. Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, let's just say when it matters the most. No. All right. Well, Diggs is here. Can we do both?
Yeah, let's do Diggs.
All right. This way, when he does inevitably sign with the Chiefs, I can say that it wasn't just naked Mahomes, that we actually backed our way into it.
All right, good.
There we go.
And we don't have Diggs as a Chief. I will say that. So, if you're convinced.
Oh, in the Sims, yeah.
In the Sims, he's not a Chief. He's just a free agent.
Yeah.
But like I said, we have had AJ Brown as a Patriot, with the assumption that was, likely enough to where we should just play it that way.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that with Diggs.
It would be stunning if that doesn't happen at this point.
At this point, it would be kind of stunning, yeah.
All right, let's take stock here. So we were a little thin at wide receiver with just Jordan Tyson through 110 picks, but then we come back, we get Casey Concepcion, we get Shakir, we get Diggs. Now we got the 2-3-6-1. The Kyle Pitts selection, I think, looks nice now in hindsight, knowing how wide receiver heavy we went through this range.
It does, yeah.
And then what? We're going to have to get creative at running back with how to fill out the rest of the roster.
I mean, I honestly think we'll probably have one more running back on this team. And I have
just rock 4. Yeah.
Yeah, just rock 4. Because we went it was
second,
Achane.
third, and
That's
fifth.
Right.
Ran.
Yeah. Achane, Javonte, and Bucky. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the ways of actually supercharging the Bucky pick is like you play it like everything's fine and he's a third round value. And in that scenario, if you had gone like first round Achane, second round, Javon or whatever it is, but you're just saying like, hey, this is a hyper fragile build and I just tack on one more.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you're betting more on Javonte to an extent with Dak, I think. I'm really betting on the Cowboys offense now. So yeah, I think that like in a lot of, it's just not a lot. Running back is not a big need for this team at this point. We've made our bet.
This is it's funny too, because we always talk about the meta where the QB pocket is, all of this tight end value. It's pretty rare, I feel like, even on my teams, to have 3 wide receivers in round 10, 11, 12. And it's just kind of how it broke for us.
Yeah. Yeah, Concepcion and Shakir there, I definitely have some of. I'm not like hammering either guy, but I think Concepcion I'd like more of, but yeah, I don't always.
So we do have good tight end options available here. Kick likes the Juwan Johnson teammate pairing. There's also Strange and Hunter Henry. What do you think?
I like the Juwan Johnson one too. I mean, that's a little bit on the Saints. We're going to do we will have some correlation here.
Mm-hmm. And now after that, we do see Spears jump to the top. It also still likes the tight end suggestions for us here.
Spears is one of the last running backs where we would have like the potential for him to have some standalone. There was a report that he's competing with Singleton, which would obviously be a concern. So I'm okay with, I mean, frankly, any of these top suggestions seem solid. I'm not too worried about Singleton, especially to open the season, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with Spears. I don't mind him as RB4 here. I mean, you're looking at Sharps, Ryan Robinson, Tank Bigsby, Singleton, and I think it gives us the flexibility. If we did want to add a fifth, it's still in play probably.
Yep.
We'll add Spears as our fourth. Few questions from the chat. Ben kind of spitballing. Does this trade make the Browns more likely to have higher pace, shootout scripts without the best defensive player in the league? That's not a bad spin zone.
No, I think it definitely helps the Browns be really bad.
Yeah.
You know, like Myles Garrett was like changing offensive game plans last year. Like people were just like attacking them with like quick passing game. And the other thing with the Browns defense is it wasn't that great of a defense overall. Like they were actually worse against the pass than the run. If you could attack them, like if you could survive the pass rush and attack them through the air, that's actually where they were most vulnerable. And so losing the pass rush for the Browns, I mean, I know Jared Verse is really good, assuming he's back in that trade. So it's not like they won't have any pass rush, but not having Myles Garrett be like a game-wrecking single player is going to hurt. I think it has the potential to expose some problems they already had.
It sets up the Browns, because they'll now have extra ammo to go get a quarterback next year in the draft, which makes a ton of sense for them. This is another fun Best Ball Bro spin zone on this. Do Colts picks get more appealing with their Week 17 matchup getting slightly weaker? That's a good one.
I mean, yeah, maybe a tad, maybe just a hair. But I mean, I would say this is like one of the. I mean, I feel like at some point I got some pushback on Browns stuff of like, come on, man, like you can't be Browns, like, this great defense. It's like, well, things change, right? Like
they muddied games up in a pretty big way. Like you were never excited about Browns shootouts with the way their defense.
You aren't.
And they play all of those outdoor divisional games deep into the winter. We had the year, what was it, 2 years ago, where like randomly for their games would have these insane wind gusts. It just tanked so many of that stuff.
Yeah.
This is a fun question from Brady. Pat, what's the most disgusting high ADP stacks? I wonder if he means lower ADP. I keep getting
That's
Cleveland
what he means.
players.
Yeah. Technically, he's correct, right? The number is high.
It is higher. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Disgusting stacks. I mean, I would say the most. You want to go like super disgusting? You could just do like a 17th, 18th Zachariah Branch, Michael Penix.
That's really disgusting. Yeah.
I mean, how about that?
I can't even top that. I guess the Watson thing is pretty, but yeah, like the Judy Watson, it is hard to beat that as well.
Yeah. Judy Watson is actually more disgusting.
Okay. Barely. We're about to be on the clock here. The top pick here that you can't see is Brian Robinson by ADP. The kick also mentioning Rodgers in play here. We could set up like a Rodgers Jeremy if we wanted another stack. What do you think?
We sure could. I like Stowers a lot here. That third tight end, a little upside play at the position. Getting disrespected as a pass catcher who doesn't block much, to the point that Jacob Sanderson calls him a twink. But I think he's pretty good as like a late round tight end 3.
Yeah, we add him to Kyle Pitts and Jawan Johnson, Neil Orfield, and I in the second.
Sorry, we could. Brian Robinson jumps to the top there and then gets sniped. Did you see that?
It happens. Well, you just wanted to do Brian Robinson with Zachariah Branch and Tua was what you were trying to set up.
I was trying to set that up. Yeah.
All right. Rodgers still top here on the kick. Jeremy's not going to make it back to us, but we could fuck around and find out.
We could also go Jeremy and then see if Rodgers comes back. I'd be fine with that if you prefer.
Yeah, my guess is they don't. Yeah, you pick. You tell me which one you like of that. I guess we'll go Jeremy.
Let's go Jeremy.
Yeah, Dak and Mahomes, we can definitely get by there. And we weren't going to do the Freiermuth probably with 3 tight ends already on the roster. So maybe just get the wide receiver.
Yeah. I think, I mean, It's funny because Frymouth pops up there as an actually decent pick after we take Jeremy, so he probably would have jumped up as a potential 4 tight end. I have been seeing 4 tight end builds with this kind of team. When you have the 4 running backs, that's what it is. Like 4 running backs and then like first tight ends, like Kyle Pitts or later. I have seen, those as 4 tight end builds in Best Ball Mania.
Everyone is predictably disgusted by your suggestions. Even Duck said, I felt my lunch creep back up hearing that. Thanks, Pat. So there you go.
For what?
The branch to a late round.
I was like, are people that out on 4 tight ends?
That's right. As Ryan says here, appreciate everybody who's been locked in for our 4-hour Best Ball Breakfast stream. 704 people watching live. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit those likes. We're here every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Levitan was out this week for the Establish the Run retreat. He'll be back next week. And like I said earlier, if you want to see Levitan today, well, you are in luck, because the So You Think You Can Tell episode that is dropping here in 20 minutes largely features both him and Evan Silva reviewing the submissions. And Pat, you'll be happy to know I asked them a little bit at the top about their background. We got some Rotoworld mentions, some Chris Wessling mentions, and it took me back to working on our Rotoworld episode. And that was the first time you and I got to meet guys like Silva and Levitan.
That's true. Although I think, now I'm getting it all mixed up in my head, because the first time I think I met Levitan in person was when I was filming for you the Broathlon stuff. You're doing a Manzanelli, Levitan spinning around a bat, barely drinking a beer. It's all running down his face.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Levitan knew you from, like, I did the interviews, but I think he knew that you worked on that episode with me, like when we hung out.
Okay, that would make sense.
I'm pretty sure
so
the Fantasy Land
I think you're probably right about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
was that the same year as the draft? The Philly draft?
Yes, because we went to the draft and recorded the Broathlon that same weekend.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
That was
Corey Davis's draft.
Corey Davis, 4th overall. Yeah, we were very excited about that.
I was especially excited, yeah.
Yes. And now you're just as excited about Carnell Tate to the Titans. Do you want to play Brandon Ayuk to the to the Commanders? Tank Dell, Jerry Jeudy, A.D. Mitchell. Who do you like?
Is Zach Branch still available, or
no? He's gone. Quit.
No, I think Dell's good. Okay. Do you see Penix down there? That's why I asked.
It's almost like the sidekick wants to indulge your bits here today.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, Jerry Judy's literally the top suggestion right now. There we go. So 2-4-8-3, as you predicted, for running back build. It looks like it doesn't mind a 4th tight end or Jeudy or Bryant as a 9th wide receiver. What do you think?
I would say that, Sacrilegious is a part of the rankings team. So if you see Jerry Jeudy popping as the top guy on the sidekick, he's probably a pretty good pick. That's where you can trust that we've considered the downside.
We talked about vomit stacks. I mean, we didn't do a Cleveland quarterback with it, but we did secure the Jerry Jeudy portion.
And Penix finished as top guy. Look at that. Now we're out of picks. Sorry, Michael.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael Penix. I think what for your guys' inputs, does this mean you guys have a pretty higher likelihood of Penix being the starter in the playoffs? Is that why he's
it's more that, like, we think that Penix is more likely, like, when he's starting, it's likely to happen at the, later in the year. The Tua probably gets first crack, but also Tua's not great and then has some injury issues as well. So Penix, I think, is likely to get his starts, assuming he gets some, as the year winds down.
Do you if, like, say you got news today, again, this is a crazy hypothetical that wouldn't happen, but the Falcons were like, Michael Penix Jr. is starting the season for us. Tua will be his backup and he will be ready if needed. How do you think that would impact things? Do you still then like Penix as the click because he's gotten the nod, or are you playing the idea that they're not going to survive the whole season?
Well, it'd be funny because I think what would happen is Penix would become a better pick. So we would take more Penix because he's been named the starter. So then we would have something like, he he would probably move to like a Geno-ish type of level where you're like, he's going to start, but we don't know he's going to be playing at the end of the year. He could get benched. So he would move up, but he would also he would make less sense for certain builds than he currently does, and he would make more sense for a lot more builds, where you're like, yeah, this guy will help me out through the season, through, help fill buys, maybe help a guy like Daniel Jones or maybe Patrick Mahomes or whatever. We're not expecting to start super hot. And then, if he loses the job, so be it, but hopefully he doesn't. I think that's a better pick than what he currently is now. But yeah, you're right. There would be like some additional downside we'd have to bake in specifically around the playoffs.
Dude, I think at this point we got to be worried about Malik Neighbors because I kid you not, the Giants are signing former Chiefs wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster to a 1-year deal per his agent. Giants have now added wide receivers Odell Beckham Jr., Braxton Berrios, and JuJu Smith-Schuster just today.
What the heck?
They saw the softball clip and they said, JuJu, we need you here now.
Well, it's like at this point, it's like kind of bad for. Did something happen with Slayton or Malachi Fields or Mooney? Like these, I mean, you got to be pissed if you're Mooney. You're like, I'm supposed to be the dusty vet around here. What's JuJu doing around?
Dude, that's saying a lot. It's also just funny for it to all happen in the same day. Like I understand, there's concern. You're talking to these free agents. One happens today, one in a week or two, but they were on the phone with these agents over the weekend.
Who's the funniest guy they could sign? Like, can you think of anyone funnier than if they signed Chris Hogan?
Is he still playing lacrosse? He's still.
I don't know
around?
what he's doing. He might be playing for the Giants in about 20 minutes. That's where we're headed.
The only thing funnier would be like trading for a guy like Jalen Polk.
That would be very good. Yeah, especially because you wouldn't be trading the Patriots. He's on, I think, the Saints.
People say Will Fuller. Yeah, that would.
Will Fuller would be very funny. That's funnier than Chris Hogan.
Laquan Treadwell's a good one as far as
Laquan Treadwell's good. Although he's floated around. I think to me, Chris Hogan's funnier because like Treadwell's been in the league more recently. I think. Kenny Galladay would be funny.
God, yeah, Babytron.
Nothing funnier than Odell is maybe the correct answer. They've already done the funniest signing.
It is true. This is probably the smart take from MBF here. They probably have been planning this for a while and needed to wait until today for the cap space stuff with June 1st. But it still feels a little suspicious to add that many bodies to your wide receiver room.
It does feel a little suspicious. And have none of them be Diggs or Devo, who would be the guys who would actually be like, oh, okay.
Keenan. Yeah. Anything
Keenan,
in that vein.
Yeah.
It is a real they were like, yeah, there's some dusty free agents hanging out there, but hold my beer. We can do dustier.
There's some dusty guys out there, which is why we signed JuJu.
Isn't Keenan Allen everything you would just in a million years hope Odell Beckham could be at this stage of his career?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
Keenan's even dustier than like Debo. Like, why don't you just get Debo?
Right. Right. Jesus Christ. Let's recap this team here. We did finish with the 2-4-9-3. Dak Prescott, and I'll never let Pat forget naked Patrick Mahomes, unless Stefon Diggs signs, in which case we do got that stack.
Never golden.
At least Diggs isn't on the Giants, ... for now. Devon Achane, Javonte Williams, Bucky Irving, Tajay Spears, a true hyper-fragile build, taking some value there with Bucky to make it work. CeeDee Lamb, Tetairoa McMillan, Jordan Tyson, Casey Concepcion, Khalil Shakir, Stefon Diggs, Jeremy Bernard, Tank Dell, Jerry Jeudy. What a wide receiver room. 3 tight ends, Kyle Pitts, Juwan Johnson, and Eli Stowers. What do you think?
Honestly, I know it has naked Mahomes, which one commenter said earlier is not a good thing for women. But
Paul, shout out to Paul, because I'm pretty sure I've watched Paul spam that comment and that version of the joke across ADP chasing, ship chasing, and now Best Ball Breakfast today. He's getting some good legs out of it, that's for sure.
I mean, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, so getting some very good legs out of it. He has some beautiful legs. Yeah, I think one of the things I think is fun about this team is that we have Jordan Tyson, Casey Concepcion, Jeremy Bernard. Tank Dell's not a rookie, but he's got some uncertainty around him. We have Eli Stowers as well. So a bunch of these rookie pass catchers. And then we have Jerry Jeudy, we have Khalil Shakir, we have Stefon Diggs. So it's like a wide receiver room that we attacked with volume, which we had the luxury to do with the 4 running back build. But like it's volume in a way that I think could really pay off. That we're kind of like layer in points throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, this room has a lot of upside. The wide receivers hitting at the end of the season. I mean, we have 2 first-round picks on there. We got our wide receiver 5's tied to the Bills. Like it's not like Diggs might be tied to the Chiefs. So we have like some high impact offenses, and then the rookie firepower. So yeah, I think it's a pretty fun build.
Yes, but BK asking the most important question, Pat. No cheating, no looking anywhere. Who does Tank? Now watch how I say this. Dell play in week 17.
I hate that. There's so many that I'll be like, wait, which one's this? This one's like it's like my brain starts with this now. Like I wake up, I'm like, the Texans play the Packers week 17. The Wisconsin Dells.
Tank Dell has a very cool first name, arguably one of the coolest first names in the NFL, along with Tank Bigsby. And yet, for me, his name is now more synonymous with Wisconsin than it is with Tank.
Yeah. Well, like isn't it a water park? Maybe a water tank going? Can we start calling him Water Tank?
Ooh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Water Tank's a good way to remember it.
Yeah.
Chris Diaz says, Myles Garrett just got traded. I log into the stream and we're talking about a potential Jalen Polk trade. I'm with my people. Yeah. I tried to see in the chat helped. Are there any fantasy angles, best ball angles to this Myles Garrett trade? It's just hard to get there. But we had some, Chris, if you scroll back, the Colts matchup now a little easier. Maybe the Browns throw a little bit more because they're in more negative game scripts, less slog fests. So I see a little bit. We did our best.
Yeah. Consigliere say I was going on a roller coaster in my brain trying to pull the Dell week 17 matchup. I'm going on a roller coaster with the Dell thing, but it's not because I can't remember it. It's because I can remember it much more easily than the other ones. And it really like, the mnemonics is really, if you can have a groundswell mnemonic. Like if you get behind a mnemonic,
there's a mimetic quality to it.
It's a mimetic quality. So if you make one of these a meme, then it will become the mnemonic. I put out some slides, some graphics of the mnemonics, and the Wisconsin Dells was the one we went with. Someone said, I'm going to go with like, some kind of chili versus cheese thing. They're like, I'm going to go with that because Wisconsin Dells is too obscure. I was like, that's what I thought, man. But you know what?
Have you posted I just searched because I'm on my Mozilla, not my Chrome. Why is it showing old legendary upside? This can't be right. November 23, that was the last time this was updated.
Search mine because I'm pretty sure
Okay, I'll get it pulled up. But yes, it's also funny too when people feel the need to say, I'm going to remember it a different way. And then you want to reply back, no, you will remember it the way I told you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you have some old version of the feed, but
dude, it might just be like cached.
You've got a cached version of
dude, it's cached in my Mozilla. I'll go back over to I'm in Mozilla for the sidekick there, and then I'll go back to the real Twitter here.
I just private chatted it to you.
I got it. Here we go. Where are these? Also, shout out. I mentioned it to you. The graphics on the shorts and stuff are looking nice and crisp. I like.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Mike's been helping out.
Here are. So yes, it didn't start out as Wisconsin Dells, but this is like, to Pat's point, it's Pat giving in, capitulating to the
this is capitulation. This is the correct kind of capitulation, right? I saw the writing on the wall. Wisconsin Dells is how the Slappies will remember this. So that's how we will remember it.
Washington at Jags, Chris Rodriguez game. Some of these are. You went with the Puka versus Buka as well.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
Another
I like
capitulation.
2 MVPs versus 1 MVP vote is very fun.
That one was fun.
Ben Johnson Bowl is just so easy to remember.
It's just so easy to remember.
Elite Tight End Showdown is good to remember too. This was a new one, Dolphin Kincaid. I don't remember discussing that.
Someone gave me that, and I'm forgetting who. And I'm
What
sorry.
was it before?
It was like Allen versus Achan or something like that. Something real basic like that. So
I don't know
Dolphin
how
Kincaid,
I feel about the Pit versus 911 Nashville.
I love that one.
As if 911 is synonymous with Nashville.
I just think
show.
it's so funny. I just think that one's so funny. The Pit, man. The Pit's a cultural.
The Pit is iconic, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you.
just
The
think
name
it's so
Pit
funny.
is in the matchup. That is the worst one on here, and it's not
I
even
love it.
close.
I
But people
love
like
see,
that.
you know what? It's because if you remember it, it doesn't matter like if it makes sense to begin with. Like once it's in your head, does it stay in your head?
No,
I
you
think
can't
that
say
one
it's-
stays in your head.
You're right, but the Pit, it's actually bridging the gap of Young Sheldon America and Prestige TV America, because the Pit is certainly Prestige TV.
Well, that's kind of what I was
good.
going for. I was going
Yeah.
for kind of like the Young Sheldon versus the Bear, but make it Pittsburgh and Tennessee. So Pitt versus 911 Nashville is kind of the week 17 of Young Sheldon versus the Bear.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. This one does.
I'll
not
tell you
have
what.
mimetic legs.
There's
I'll tell
some
you
I don't
that.
remember. There's some I don't remember. Yeah, I got work to do on the meme. There's like the London, the French Quarter versus London one. I'm like, wait, which one's that again?
Yeah.
You know? So some of them don't stick in your head that you're like, yeah, that's good. That makes sense. Pitt versus 9-1 Nashville, I honestly think is
I
a good
hate it.
mnemonic. You'll all
It
remember
makes
now.
me-
Everyone watching is going to remember this matchup now.
I will. Maybe this ends up being my version of the Wisconsin Dells, where you hated it at first, and I absolutely hate 911 Nashville. I will not remember Tennessee because of fucking 911. I did. God,
All right,
it's like
send Pete your 911 Nashville and the Pitt memes. We need it.
how
we
many
need it.
different of the 911 series? Because there's was it 911 Lone Star was one. What were the other one? 911. How
Well,
is it?
911
Nashville the
Nashville is a
flagship?
current show. I think is
Okay.
important to note. This is,
Okay.
it's a man of the people. I can tell you, this is currently on network TV. So
Yeah,
it's happening. It's not like some.
Yes.
show.
Okay. Lone Star's the spinoff set in Austin, Texas, starring Rob Lowe. And that one just concluded its 5-season run. So maybe this is the whatever.
Maybe this
I'm
is the
over it.
spinoff.
I can't do the Dells thing with 911 Nashville. Did you know a single thing about 911 Nashville other than it's a fucking first responder show?
No, of course I didn't. What are you talking about? No,
Oh,
I honestly didn't. But you know what? You'll remember this matchup now, and you're welcome.
Jeez. Yeah. Too bad there wasn't with something with like, what you'd have like Fresno State. If you had something with like Devontae Adams and Derek Carr. with
Yeah, Reno 911
911
would have been
and
awesome.
Yeah.
There was one that we had that was so good about a matchup that didn't exist.
Didn't
that
happen.
Yeah, and I'm forgetting what it is now, but there was one I was like so mad wasn't actually a matchup.
That's the point we are in the evolution of remembering week 17 matchups, is that we basically are just rooting for matchups to happen just so we can have really fun. I'm honest. All right, Pat. People are going to go check out the So You Think You Can Tout debut episode here of episode 4 featuring Silva and Levitan. Do you got Coach Speak Index going today as well?
Yep, I got Coach Speak Index happening right now, right after this. So
Beautiful.
check that out as well. And we'll be back tomorrow doing Top Guy Tuesday. Full week of content this week. I'm going to be streaming every day. So check out Legendary Upside YouTube, Sidekick over at legendaryupside.com/sidekick. As I mentioned, I'm going to be dropping an article this week on the rookie wide receivers. Just dug into the rookie wide receivers, the pricing over the years, how they performed, and then looked at the guys this year and kind of the way I'm attacking the rookie class. So largely, I think I'm maybe a little bit more optimistic on the rookie wide receivers than the market, especially for best ball. And, I am a guy who took Parker Washington 109 in a rookie draft, but that was a timeout. I would have taken Omar Cooper, and I ended up writing pretty favorably about Omar Cooper in this article where, not a guy that from a dynasty perspective I'm like massively high on, but we are starting to see some fun discounts on some of these rookies. So look for that later this week.
Beautiful. Also, be sure to check out Pat and the crew on ADP chasing tomorrow. Good news. Jacob's still traveling, but we'll be able to tap into that Tuesday night. And then we'll have ship chasing on Wednesday with Pat Davis and myself. Go check out the So You Think You Can Tout episode here, premiering in just about 1 minute. Also, I'm going to do a live stream tonight, a little after show reaction hosted by Mike Zakarian, if you want to talk through what happens on the show. Otherwise, off and on the clock tomorrow with Nez and John, we're going to be doing weekly winners. Going to dip my toes in those streets for the first time. We'll also have the bash and an after dark later this week. Be sure to check out the Fantasy Life newsletter as well. I got a lot of stuff to write about for tomorrow. And shout out to Neil for subbing in for Adam today. Much appreciated. Of course, Sam, Pat, producer Mark, all 600 plus of you who stuck it out to the bitter end here on Best Ball Breakfast. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys next Monday, same time, 10 a.m., same crew. Appreciate you guys. Peace.